Chapter 703. The heavenly level trading city was not big. There were only dozens of markets. Most of the cultivators in the city were at the 8th fragmentation realm and above. There were also life immortal realm cultivators. Occasionally, there would be life immortal realm cultivators flying across the sky. They would always attract the attention of many void fragmentation realm cultivators. Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly gloomy. There were many life immortal realm cultivators here. Most of them were here to buy the items they needed. He had to keep a low profile. He must not cause any trouble in the vicinity of Little Zay Planet. After visiting more than 40 markets in the city, Ning Fan managed to buy more than 10 star discs of low-grade star domains and 2 mid-grade star domains. However, he did not see any star plates of high-grade star domains, let alone the ancient star plate. It seemed like what the Divine Transformation Realm old man said was true. All high-grade star plates would only be auctioned in the heavenly level trading city. Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the giant golden palace floating in the sky with a frown. That palace was the only auction house in the city. It was said that a life immortal realm cultivator of Little Zay Planet was personally overseeing it. This city would hold an auction every 10 years. There was still a year before the next auction would be held. According to the rules of Little Zay Planet, the items that would be auctioned in the past auctions would be announced in advance. Cultivators who want to participate in the auction would only need to spend a small amount of Dao crystals to buy information jade slips. Other than the final items that would not be announced, all the other auction items would be known in advance. Ning Fan bought an information jade slip from the auction house and went to a spiritual tea house in the northern part of the city. He sat by the window and sipped his tea while carefully reading the jade slip in his hand. After a long time, Ning Fan finished reading the jade slip. His brows were tightly knitted together, and he remained silent. Among the items that would be auctioned in this auction, the ancient star plate that Ning Fan wanted was included. However, the price of the star plate far exceeded Ning Fan's expectations. The star plate of a low-grade star domain only required several tens of thousands of Dao crystals. The most expensive one would not exceed 100,000 Dao crystals. The star plate of a mid-grade star domain only required a few 100,000 Dao crystals. The most expensive one would not exceed 1 million Dao crystals. The star plate of a high-grade star domain, however, cost more than 10 million Dao crystals. As for the star plate of the ancient star domain, its starting price was as high as 50 million Dao crystals. 50 million Dao crystals. And this was only the starting price. After a round of bidding, the price of the star plate could go even higher, possibly even surpassing 100 million. He touched his storage pouch and sighed gently. He only had 20 million Dao crystals with him. It was not enough for him to bid for the star plate of the ancient star domain. There were many good items in this auction. For example, the Yuhua pill. The starting price of the low-grade 8th Revolution Ascension pill was as high as 30 million Dao crystals. Similarly, it was not something that Ning Fan could afford. The life immortal Dao fruit. The starting price was as high as 1 billion Dao crystals. This was not something that Ning Fan could dream of. These things were actually not the final items. He really didn't know what kind of priceless item the finale would be. Ning Fan sipped his tea while muttering to himself. For the first time, he felt that he was very, very poor. He was determined to obtain the ancient star domain's astrolabe. For the sake of the immortal soul grass and for Mu Weiliang, he had to obtain the astrolabe no matter what. If he didn't have enough money, he had to think of a way to get it. In this heaven-ranked trading city, there were countless ways to make money. If your alchemy skills are high enough, you can make money by refining pills. If you are in urgent need of money, you can also sell your treasures for money. There was also a gambling house here. You can try your luck there. Ning Fan pondered carefully. With his current peak 6th Revolution pill refinement realm, he could only concoct low-grade 7th Revolution pills at most. He could not make a lot of money from refining 7th grade pills. Even if he painstakingly concocted pills for a year in the profound Yin world, he could only earn a few 100,000 Dao crystals at most. Ning Fan threw the idea of concocting pills to the back of his mind. Should he sell some of his treasures in exchange for Dao crystals? The market price of a small Kiliacosm world treasure was around 50 million Dao crystals. The cauldron ring and yuan yao jade were valuable items. Unfortunately, these items had a special meaning to Ning Fan. It was impossible for him to sell them. As for the incense demon puppet, black devil scissors and other treasures, they were also valuable items. Ning Fan would not sell them. As for the other treasures, they were either important, not suitable to be exposed, or worthless. For a moment, Ning Fan really did not have anything to sell. Speechlessly, he took out the astrolabe that Meng Xuanzi gave him. Only now did he know how valuable this astrolabe was. An astrolabe of a high-grade star domain could be auctioned for more than 100 million Dao crystals. If this astrolabe of the Emperor star domain was sold, it would probably fetch a sky-high price. Of course, Ning Fan would not sell this item. This item was related to a North Heaven immortal emperor. If he sold it, he would certainly attract the secret attention of countless old monsters and cause endless troubles. After keeping the astrolabe, Ning Fan took out the yellowed promissory note. It would be great if he could find Wei Wuxi who owed him money. Then he would be able to solve his current problem of lacking money. Unfortunately, Ning Fan did not know Wei Wuxi's appearance, cultivation base and identity. The only thing he knew was that this person was a cultivator from the Eastern Heaven immortal world, and had some unclear entanglements with Old Devil. In the Eastern Heaven, there were at least a few 100,000 people called Wei Wuxi. How would Ning Fan know which one of them was Wei Wuxi who owed him money? Even if he knew, where could he find this person in such a short time? Unexpectedly, the dignified Great Devil Ning would also be troubled by his lack of money one day. Should I go to the casino to try my luck? My luck seems to have always been good. Just as Ning Fan was thinking about this, his eyes suddenly turned gloomy. He saw a red-robed old man sitting opposite of Ning Fan with a smile on his face. He cupped his fists and said to Ning Fan with a smile, "Fellow Taoist seems to be in a difficult situation. I wonder if this old man can help you?" This was a rogue immortal cultivator. The baleful qi on his body was very strong, but he concealed it very well. This person looked kind on the surface, but he was not necessarily a kind person. "Who are you?" Ning Fan's eyes were so sharp that they actually pierced the red-robed old man's sea of consciousness. The old man's eyes slightly trembled. Then he narrowed them. He seemed to have underestimated Ning Fan. However, it was not a big deal. It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that I have a way to make money. I can help fellow Taoists earn Dao crystals. If I'm not mistaken, there should be something that fellow Taoist needs in this auction. Looking at fellow Taoist's expression, it seems like you still lack some Dao crystals. As soon as the red-robed old man finished speaking, he quietly looked at Ning Fan, as if he was waiting for Ning Fan to ask him a question. Ask him what exactly his way to make money is. Ning Fan gave the red-robed old man a deep look. Then, he subtly glanced at the long street outside the window, and continued to sip his spiritual tea. His eyes seemed to be deep in thought, but he did not answer the old man. The red-robed old man did not get angry. After giving an awkward smile, he continued, "Why don't you ask me what my way to make money is? What I want to know is why you want to find me, a mere seventh fragmented realm cultivator, to conspire with you when you have such a way to make money." As if he could see the vigilance in Ning Fan's eyes, the old man chuckled and explained, If I'm not mistaken, fellow Taoist's pill refinement should be above the high-grade 6th revolution, since you can enter the heaven-grade trading city with your 7th fragmented realm cultivation base, right? So what if I am? To tell you the truth, I found an ancient herb that is 1 million years old on an abandoned planet outside of Lesser Marsh Star. That herb has already gained sentience, and is hiding inside the planet. I can't find it no matter how hard I try. That's why I need to borrow the power of fellow Taoist's medicine soul to find it. Abandoned planet. 1 million years old ancient herb. Ning Fan muttered to himself. His eyes were drifting around. No one knew what he was thinking about. The so-called abandoned planet was a cultivation planet that did not have any spiritual qi, and was not suitable for cultivation. As for 1 million years old ancient herbs, they were extremely precious items. If a mortal consumes 1 million years old ancient herb, they would not die. Instead, they could directly ascend to immortality. The market price of a 1 million years old ancient herb was usually more than several billion Dao crystals. If that abandoned planet really had a 1 million years old ancient herb, Ning Fan really wanted to make a fortune. Unfortunately, Ning Fan's eyes indifferently swept across the red-robed old man. His expression did not change at all. The old man's eyes slightly narrowed. After thinking for a while, he took out a storage pouch from his sleeve. There were 2 million Dao crystals in the pouch. If fellow Taoist helps me find the herb, I'm willing to pay you 5 million Dao crystals. These 2 million Dao crystals can be considered as a deposit. I'll pay you first. It's enough to prove my sincerity. I also know that 5 million Dao crystals is a little too little for fellow Taoist to help me find 1 million years old ancient herbs. However, fellow Taoist also needs to understand that you are just a 7th fragmentation realm cultivator. As for that 1 million years old ancient herb, it has already gained sentience and its strength is not inferior to that of a rogue immortal. You can't help me capture the ancient herb and I don't need you to do that either. I also don't intend to share the extra money with you. The red-robed old man did not mince his words. He did not feel that there was anything wrong with what he said. Ning Fan's eyes flickered a few times. With an inexplicable meaning, he accepted the 2 million Dao crystals. When will we depart? Immediately. The red-robed old man replied. Where is that abandoned planet? South of the Lesser Marsh Star. I can't tell you the exact location for the time being. Fellow Taoist just needs to follow me closely, and you will naturally reach that abandoned planet. Is that so? In that case, let's go. Ning Fan looked at the people in the tea house. Many of them were giving him strange looks, but he did not expose them. Fellow Taoist is really a straightforward person. Ha! The red-robed old man laughed heartily. With a flash, he turned into a ray of fiery red traveling light and dashed out of the Lesser Marsh Star. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a hint of sarcasm. He followed closely behind the old man in a flash. The two of them traveled all the way south. After traveling for about 10 days, they finally saw an abandoned planet. The red-robed old man landed on the planet. Ning Fan, however, stood in midair and did not descend. Fellow Taoist, you must be very tired after traveling for 10 days. Why don't you take a rest on this planet? When your magic power is replenished, we will begin to look for ancient herbs. What do you think? Ning Fan ignored the old man and continued to stand in midair. However, the hint of sarcasm in his eyes was no longer concealed. The red-robed old man seemed to have understood something. His face instantly turned gloomy and he sneered, revealing a ghastly look of killing intent. When did you see through my plan? From the very beginning. Ning Fan was not a fool. He did not believe that there would be such a good thing that would fall from the sky, and that someone would conspire with him for wealth. Humph. Fellow Taoist, you clearly know that I have ulterior motives, but you still dare to come here with me. You really have guts. You are indeed worthy of being the Devil Lord who slaughtered the 7 Stars bloody massacre. Fellow Taoist Qianxiu, we are short of money recently. How about we borrow your head? The red-robed old man clapped his hands. The 6 rogue immortals who had been lying in ambush immediately revealed themselves. With a flash, they surrounded Ning Fan in the middle, including the red-robed old man. There were a total of 7 rogue immortals here. Each of these rogue immortals had greedy eyes. They wanted to kill Ning Fan in exchange for the red reward. Ning Fan's eyes indifferently swept across the 7 rogue immortals. When he discovered that 2 of them were actually devils who offered bounties, he nodded with satisfaction. One of them would reward 8 million Dao crystals, while the other would reward 15 million Dao crystals. I won't hide it from fellow Taoist. The reason I came here is because I'm short on money and I want to borrow your heads. Ha ha ha. The 7 rogue immortals, including the red-robed old man, seemed to have heard something extremely ridiculous. They raised their heads and laughed out loud. A 7 fragmentation realm cultivator actually dared to challenge 7 rogue immortals. He is indeed arrogant. No wonder he dared to provoke the 7 fiends sect. Hee. Kill. Leave behind your primordial spirit and your head. After that, destroy your primordial spirit, and seal the remaining primordial spirit power into your head. Bring it to the slaughter pavilion in the western part of the heaven-level trading city to exchange for the red reward. What the red-robed old man said was the method to exchange for the red reward in the Eastern Heaven immortal world. The Slaughter Pavilion was a branch of the Slaughter Palace. It specialized in accepting and issuing bounty missions and collecting intermediary fees. Of course, when the disciples of the Slaughter Palace went out for adventures, they would also accept some missions with high rewards from the Slaughter Pavilion. As soon as the red-robed old man gave the order, the other 6 rogue immortals immediately released a vast amount of magic power and attacked Ningfan with all kinds of divine abilities. Ningfan did not dodge or evade. Instead, faint black starlight floated around his body. When the divine abilities of the 6 rogue immortals landed on Ningfan's body, the injuries they inflicted were not light, but they were healed in an instant. Star healing technique. Besides, this young man's star healing technique is very powerful. He can actually withstand our attacks without suffering any damage. The 7 rogue immortals were shocked. At the same time, Ningfan moved. With a single step, he turned into a black robe and raised his hand to extract their souls. His cultivation base instantly rose to the limit of the rogue immortal realm. His body turned into a black shadow and dissipated. At the same time, the 7 rogue immortals felt a sense of impending death. This old ancestor Qianqiu's divine abilities are not weak. Only life immortals can kill him. Run quickly. The red-robed old man gritted his teeth and gave the order to everyone. Each of them fled in different directions. They were not slow in escaping, but the black shadow was even faster. A one-sided battle unfolded in the void. Ningfan's current magic power was even stronger than ordinary rogue immortals. Ordinary rogue immortals would not be able to withstand the Black Torrent Spirit splitting technique at all. The 7 rogue immortals were all trapped in the Black Shadow, resisting the Black Shadow's attack with great difficulty. It was too late for regrets. If they knew that this old ancestor Qianqiu was so ruthless, they would not have dared to come and take the red reward. They had been careless. How could a devil with a bounty of 30 million Dao crystals be an easy target? Bang! 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 One by one, the rogue immortals were killed in the blood mist. In the end, except for the red-robed old man, all 6 rogue immortals were killed. The 2 rogue immortals who were given the red reward were specially dealt with by Ningfan. After their primordial spirits were destroyed, the remaining power of their primordial spirits was sealed in their respective heads. After sealing their bloody heads, he kept them into his storage pouch. The black shadow twisted, intending to kill the red-robed old man. The red-robed old man's body trembled. He gritted his teeth and said with extreme fear, I still have my primordial yang. Since he still had his primordial yang, it meant that he was an old virgin. In the cultivation world, there were definitely not many old virgins who had cultivated to the rogue immortal realm. The red-robed old man said that just to save his life, even though he also knew that he would end up in a terrible state if he revealed this secret. You still have your primordial yang, huh? Ningfan's cold laughter sounded from the black shadow. He severely injured the red-robed old man with a single strike, but did not kill him. The illusion technique of his left eye flashed, causing the old man to fall unconscious. He took out a peak immortal void realm rope magic treasure, and tied the old man up like a dumpling. The red-robed old man's storage pouch, and the storage pouch of the other 6 rogue immortals all belonged to Ningfan. In this battle, Ningfan obtained a total of 8 million Dao crystals. In addition to the 2 million Dao crystals that the red-robed old man used to confuse Ningfan, he obtained a total of 10 million Dao crystals. The heads of the 2 devil cultivators were still worth 23 million Dao crystals. After deducting the intermediary fee, Ningfan could still get a huge sum of money. As for this red-robed old man, he was a valuable object, a human cauldron. Moreover, he was a male cauldron with his primordial yang. To some life immortal devils, this red-robed old man was very attractive. If they use a secret technique to increase his cultivation base, he would be a life immortal male cauldron. After a night of passion, the life immortal devils would obtain great benefits while the red-robed old man would definitely die. It was not difficult to sell this kind of male cauldron for 10 million Dao crystals. This was the reason why Ningfan spared his life. Ningfan's eyes revealed a hint of disdain when he casually searched the old man's soul and memories, turning him into an idiot. It turned out that this red-robed old man was a habitual offender on Little Zaystar. He often tricked the bounty devils who had just entered Little Zaystar and killed them to obtain rewards. No wonder the people in the tea house looked at him with such strange eyes. No one reminded Ningfan to be careful of the red-robed old man. This was the cold and indifferent cultivation world. It was also the cultivation world that Ningfan hated. After keeping the old man, Ningfan returned to Little Zaystar. He went to the Male Cauldron Pavilion in the northern part of the city. That place specialized in selling and purchasing male cauldrons that still had primordial yang energy. Even though the red-robed old man had become an idiot, it did not stop others from plucking him. This old man who often killed people for their wealth would never expect that he would be captured by Ningfan one day and turned into an idiot to be sold as a male cauldron. After selling the red-robed old man, Ningfan earned 10 million Dao crystals. He now had 40 million Dao crystals on him. His figure flashed and he headed to the slaughter pavilion. Even though Ningfan was set up as a reward, the slaughter pavilion had its own rules. The devil cultivators who came to offer rewards were still guests even if they were set up as rewards. The cultivators of the slaughter pavilion would not attack them. Every time a devil with a bounty completes a mission in the slaughter pavilion, they would be given 1 year of safety. Within this 1 year, the disciples of the slaughter pavilion would definitely not assassinate the devil who offered the bounty. If the total bounty of the other devils who were killed by the devil who offered the bounty exceeded their own bounty, the disciples of the slaughter pavilion would completely give up on killing that person. Of course, it was not the disciples of the slaughter pavilion's concern whether the others would kill the devil or not. Other than obtaining Dao crystals, the other benefit that Ningfan got from killing the other devils was that he could avoid confronting the slaughter pavilion. This time, the total bounty of the 2 devils he killed had already reached 23 million Dao crystals. As long as he kills another devil with a bounty of 7 million Dao crystals, he would no longer need to worry about the disciples of the slaughter pavilion attacking him. Fellow Taoist Qianxiu, are you here to submit a mission? In the slaughter pavilion, a middle-aged man in green robes who looked refined squinted his eyes and looked at Ningfan with a smile. He was a rogue immortal cultivator. Even though this person was a rogue immortal, he gave Ningfan a sense of danger. Ningfan's eyes turned slightly cold. If he were to fight this person, even if he wins, he would suffer serious injuries. This person was not one of the 7 rogue immortals. Moreover, this person was able to see through his origin at first glance. Ningfan could not help but feel apprehensive. It seemed like he had already been targeted by the people of the slaughter pavilion as soon as he entered the lesser marsh planet. If he did not come to submit the bounty this time, there would most likely be disciples of the slaughter pavilion assassinating him. The people who would come to assassinate him would definitely not be the life immortals of the slaughter pavilion. Even though Ningfan was not afraid of them, he did not want to get involved with a colossal organization like the slaughter pavilion. That's right. I am indeed here to submit a mission. As soon as he finished speaking, Ningfan flicked his sleeve and 2 heads of the rogue immortals fell on the counter in front of the man in green robes. All of a sudden, the man in green robes opened his eyes and said in astonishment, "Crimson Ghost Lu Wei with a bounty of 8 million Dao crystals. Channel of the Devil Formation, with a bounty of 15 million Dao crystals. Fellow Taoist is indeed a person of the 7 Stars Bloody Slaughter Pavilion. You have just entered the Lesser Marsh planet, and you have already killed 2 bounty devils. How much bounty can I get?" Ningfan asked directly. 80%. 18. 4 million Dao crystals. As soon as the man in green robes finished speaking, he transmitted a few words to the inner room. Then a little boy with bloodshot eyes walked out of the counter and handed over a heavy storage pouch to Ningfan. Even though the little boy was only an intermediate gold core expert, the baleful qi on his body was extremely strong. He had even killed a peak gold core expert before. Is a little boy of the slaughter pavilion so powerful? Ningfan withdrew his gaze, kept the Dao crystals, turned around and left. He was not surprised that the slaughter pavilion would take 20% of the bounty. Looking at Ningfan's back, the eyes of the man in green robes suddenly became filled with interest. A good seedling. If there is a chance, this kid may be able to join my slaughter pavilion. Someone pass on my order. The people who were supposed to be sent to kill Qianqiuzi are to withdraw immediately. Within 2 years, they are not allowed to attack him. After walking out of the slaughter pavilion, Ning Fan looked at the void fragmentation old monsters walking on the long street, as if he was looking for those bounty devils. Killing people to collect bounties was indeed the fastest way to earn money. Unfortunately, even though he found a few bounty devils on the planet, they wouldn't leave the planet in a short period of time. Ning Fan didn't dare to take action on the planet. Even the red-robed old man and the others wouldn't dare to take action until Ning Fan was lured out of the planet. Ning Fan already had 4 million Dao crystals, which was only enough to pay for the starting price of the ancient star plate. If the price was raised, Ning Fan wouldn't be able to buy the ancient star plate. Sure enough, he still had to go to the casino to try his luck. After all, a fat sheep like the red-robed old man could only be found by chance. Oh, this fellow Taoist seems to be in a dilemma. Do you not have enough Dao crystals to spend? This humble Taoist knows an excellent place that can increase the number of Dao crystals by several folds within a day. Would you like to go there and try your luck? A rogue immortal old Taoist with a face full of smiles suddenly appeared in front of Ning Fan and cupped his fists. Ning Fan was speechless. Did he look like a fat sheep? Did he look gullible? Why did he meet a fraud again? The place of earning money that you mentioned, could it be the Immortal Fortune Casino in the southern part of the city? Ning Fan asked indifferently. Aya, fellow Taoist is really a wise man. You actually know what I'm talking about. To be honest, I'm good at reading faces and observing people's luck. Fellow Taoist's luck is just ordinary. I suppose your luck has always been poor. However, today is different. The secrets of heaven have shifted to the east. Fellow Taoist's luck actually has the tendency of reversing the dragon's flow. There is a saying in the Tao of luck. If one's luck is black, when the will of heaven is reversed, the secrets of heaven will shift to the east. If one's luck is extremely black, one's immortal luck can be reversed. It can't be wrong. Fellow Taoist's luck today is extremely good. It is comparable to the luck of an immortal emperor. If you go to the Immortal Fortune Casino, you will certainly reap great rewards. The old Taoist spoke like a fraud. Of course, he could see that Ning Fan's luck was close to black. It was extremely bad luck. When he said that the secrets of heaven have shifted to the east, the secrets of heaven will be reversed, and one's immortal luck can be reversed, he wasn't lying. As the saying goes, when things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction. No matter how unlucky a person is, there will also be a time when he or she gets lucky. When the secrets of heaven shift to the east, and the secrets of heaven are leaked, the cultivators with the worst luck would usually be blessed with great luck. Of course, it would only last for a short while. However, the old Taoist knew that this wasn't the time for the secrets of heaven to shift to the east. If Ning Fan went to the casino now, he would only lose all of his fortune. He would definitely not get that little bit of luck. He was a fraud and a shill. He specially pulled cultivators with bad luck like Ning Fan to deliver money to the casino and get a commission. When Ning Fan came out from the slaughter pavilion, he saw it. No matter if Ning Fan went to issue a mission or submit it, he would have a lot of Dao crystals on him. If he tricked Ning Fan into going to the casino, he could probably get a lot of Dao crystals. Ning Fan looked at the Taoist fraud speechlessly and said indifferently, "Thank you for leading the way. I just happen to have some spare money. I want to try my luck at the Immortal Fortune Casino." He took the bait. The old Taoist fraud did not show any joy on his face, but he was overjoyed in his heart. "Ha! Watch how this poor Taoist will squeeze you dry, you little fat sheep." Chapter 704. The old Taoist enthusiastically led the way for Ning Fan. Along the way, some of the cultivators who had been deceived by the old Taoist stared at him in silence. As for those who knew the old Taoist's background, they looked at Ning Fan with sympathy. They knew that Ning Fan was the next fat sheep that the old Taoist had set his eyes on. No one reminded Ning Fan not to go to the gambling house. The old Taoist had the entire Immortal Fortune gambling house behind him, and one of the 3 life immortals in Shaozastar was behind it, Fortune Master. No one would risk offending a life immortal for an outsider like Ning Fan. When they arrived at the Heavenly Fortune gambling house, the The gatekeepers looked at Ning Fan with a strange expression when they saw him walking with the old Taoist. "Thank you for your hard work, Taoist Qin." The gatekeepers cupped their fists at the old Taoist politely. During this period of time, the old Taoist had deceived too many fat sheep and earned a lot of profits for the gambling house. It was only right for them to thank him for his hard work. Haha, it's not hard at all. The old Taoist revealed a knowing expression and smiled at the gatekeepers. Then he brought Ning Fan into the gambling house. As soon as they entered the gambling house, many cultivators shifted their gaze to the old Taoist and Ning Fan who was behind him. Their gazes towards Ning Fan were filled with a strange expression. Ning Fan ignored them. He knew very well whether his luck was good or not. His eyes swept across the gambling house with a slightly surprised expression. The gambling house of the immortal world was indeed different from the gambling houses in the mortal world. The gambling houses in the mortal world were nothing more than Pai Gao and Sieve. However, immortals did not gamble on these things. There were two things that immortals gambled on: fate and luck. The Immortal Fortune Gambling House was an open-air gambling house that occupied hundreds of acres of land. There was a golden wall in the middle that divided the gambling house into two. The gambling house was not big, and there were tens of layers of immortal formations around it. Anyone who dared to make a move in the gambling house would end up in a miserable state. The gambling house in the Western Gambling House was about luck, while the gambling house in the Eastern Gambling House was about fate. What was gambling? To put it bluntly, it was cutting stones. Cutting divine chests. There were many divine chests that were passed down in the ancient times. Some people who were proficient in the Tao of gambling could determine the type of divine chests based on their appearance and qi. Divine chests were divided into more than 10 categories, such as military chests, beast chests, medicinal chests, scriptures chests, and ominous chests. Different types of divine treasures would seal different things. For example, the weapon vault usually sealed primordial mystical weapons and magic treasures used by ancient fiend gods. There were strong and weak divine weapons, good and bad magic treasures, intact and damaged. Whatever divine weapon or dharma treasure they cut out depended on their luck. Of course, a little bit of stone cutting experience could also be used, but most cultivators gambled on their luck. There were adult demonic beasts as well as demonic beast eggs in the beast vault. If there was a need for demonic pets or mounts, he could collect them and try his luck. What was sealed in the medicine treasury were all spirit herbs. There were spirit herbs that were millions of years old, and there were also spirit herbs that were tens of thousands of years old. Sealed in the scriptures were all kinds of ancient fiend god cultivation techniques. Some were strong, some were weak, and it all depended on luck. Is it the vault of death? Ominous treasure was a general concept, and any bad thing that appeared could be considered an ominous treasure, and there was no way to distinguish it. Someone once cut out a true immortal realm ferocious beast from a beast vault, causing the deaths of countless people. That was an ominous treasure. Someone once cut out a highly poisonous medicine from a medicine treasury, and killed several life immortals on the spot. That was also an ominous treasure. Someone once cut out a bloodthirsty devil weapon from a weapon vault, and sucked the blood essence of all the cultivators who gambled at the scene dry and killed them. That was also an ominous treasure. If one did not get any benefits from cutting out a divine treasure, but only a disaster, it would be considered an ominous treasure. The old Taoist priest enthusiastically told Ning Fan about the rules of stone cutting. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was a little absent-minded. His spirit sense had already drifted to the East Gambling House. The West Gambling House gambled on luck, while the East Gambling House gambled on life. There were many ways to gamble with one's life. For example, two people would fight to the death. The winner would obtain a large number of Tao crystals, while the winner would also obtain a large number of Tao crystals. Another example would be to challenge the life and death formation door. There were 4 formation doors. 2 of them would survive and the other 2 would die. If they succeeded, they would live and get the money. If they failed, they would lose their lives and die. Is this the gambling game between immortals? Fate. Ning Fan's eyes were blank for a moment. The gamblers in the gambling house might seem stupid, but which cultivator wasn't? When cultivators cultivated the Tao, didn't they have to gamble with their lives and luck to find a way forward? Gambling wasn't funny. Every cultivator in the world gambled and Ning Fan was no exception. His stake was his life. What he wanted to win was the happiness of the woman behind him. Why is fellow Taoist looking at the East gambling house? Could it be that fellow Taoist wants to gamble with your life? You can't do that. The old Taoist priest tried to dissuade Ning Fan. If he gambled on luck, he would at most lose all his money, but his life wouldn't be in danger. If he gambled with his life, he would die in the East gambling house if he was unlucky. Although the old Taoist priest wanted to cheat Ning Fan of his money, he didn't want Ning Fan to die. His dissuasion made Ning Fan's brows twitch. He gave the old Taoist priest a meaningful glance. This old Taoist priest still has some conscience. Fine, I won't pursue the old Taoist priest's crime of cheating me. Don't worry. I won't gamble with my life. At least, I won't gamble with my life for the Tao crystals. What's worth me risking my life isn't the Tao crystals. Ning Fan said indifferently. I'm relieved that fellow Taoist thinks like this. Gambling is just for fun. Even if you lose all your Tao crystals, it's just for fun. If you lose your life, it's really stupid. Let's not talk about this. What kind of divine chests do you want to cut? Different types of divine chests were classified and placed in the same place. At this moment, there were many cultivators carefully cutting the divine chests that they had bought with the Tao blade, that was specially made by the gambling house. Ning Fan thought to himself. Even though he had good luck, it wasn't a wise move to cut the stones with his luck alone. After all, there was still a technique to cut the stones. And that technique was in the abilities of each cultivator. Ning Fan's demon and devil blood was of the ancestral grade. Even if he stood far away, he could faintly sense the grade of the bloodline of the demonic beasts and devil beasts in the beast chests. Those with high-grade bloodline were naturally rare beasts. Those with low-grade bloodline were naturally second-class beasts. However, Ning Fan could only sense the bloodline of the seal beast in most of the beast chests. He could not sense a small portion of them. Those that he could not sense were the divine beasts of the divine race. Ning Fan's divine blood was not of the ancestral grade. Thus, he could not sense the quality of the divine beast's bloodline through the divine chests. On this star, Ning Fan was the only one who possessed the ancestral grade demon and devil blood. With this he could easily identify rare demonic beasts and cut out precious divine chests to sell them in exchange for Tao crystals. I've decided. I'll cut it. Before Ning Fan could say the two words beast chests, exclamations of surprise suddenly resounded from the crowd of cultivators in the distance. Incredible. Truly incredible. This young master has cut out another 300,000 years old spiritual herb. Tis tsk. He only spent 10,000 Tao crystals to buy this piece of divine chests. However, the spiritual herb he cut out can be sold for 400,000 Tao crystals. He's making a huge profit. It's nothing. This young master has just cut out a piece of divine chests that is worth 20,000 Tao crystals, and got a 600,000 years old spiritual herb from it. That spiritual herb can be sold for 2 million Tao crystals. Following the exclamations of the crowd, Ning Fan shifted his gaze and saw a petite young master who was choosing the divine chests. Rather than calling her a young master, it would be more accurate to call her a girl dressed as a man. That person was dressed in green robes. He was wearing a secret treasure that could disguise the chi of a man. However, Ning Fan's bewitching technique was so powerful that it was impossible for him to not be able to tell the difference between a man and a woman. Not only could he tell that this was a young girl, but he could also tell that this girl's appearance was peerless. She was a true beauty. He also recognized that he had met this girl before when he entered the city. He remembered that the young girl was a 6th Revolution pill refinement master. He remembered that the girl had a life immortal protecting her, so she must have a powerful background. Many void fragmentation realm old monsters glanced at the young master greedily. Of course, they were not interested in the young master's body, but the various ancient medicines in his storage pouch. Behind the young master, a black-robed old man's eyes suddenly flashed. His mid-human profound realm aura force dispersed, and all the void fragmentation realm old monster's expressions changed drastically. Life. Life immortal. This kid has the protection of a fate immortal. Just where did he come from? I don't know. But there's no doubt that this child's background is extremely great. With the protection of this life immortal, we must not do anything to this kid, otherwise, our lives will be in danger. Killing is forbidden in this Shaozi star, but to a life immortal old monster, there's no place that they can't kill. The group of void fragmentation realm old monsters were terrified. None of them dared to have any evil intentions towards the young master. The green-robed young master turned his head and glared at the black-robed life immortal, and said unhappily, "Uncle Wei, don't release your aura force recklessly. You're disturbing my medicine soul. I can't even tell which divine chests contain good medicines." Cough cough. This old servant deserves to die. This old servant will stay quietly at one side, and no longer release my aura force recklessly. The black-robed life immortal smiled apologetically. This old servant. This title made countless people turn pale with fright. What kind of great force could enslave a mid-human profound realm life immortal? It must at least be a true immortal force. That fair and tender young master was actually an important disciple of a true immortal force. We can't offend him. We absolutely can't offend him. At this moment, even the three life immortals who were secretly observing the security of the Shaozi star through the immortal formation were shocked. They wouldn't dare to offend a disciple of a true immortal force. The background of this little ancestor is really too great. A disciple of a true immortal. Ning Fan murmured to himself. He was also very interested in that young lady. That young lady's cultivation base was only at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. However, her medicine soul was terrifyingly strong. Her pill refinement realm was already very close to the seventh revolution. That lady's bone age was less than 8,000 years old. Her cultivation base and pill refinement realm had already reached such a level. As expected, the disciples of a true immortal force weren't mediocre. That lady's true identity must be an outstanding figure among the younger generation of the Eastern Heaven. This is it. Uncle Wei, lend me your Dao weapon again. I want to cut the stone. Yes. The black-robed life immortal immediately raised his palm and summoned a fiery red flying knife. The temperature of the flying knife was terrifying. It was the temperature of the great Dao. If this flying knife hits a person, even an early human profound realm life immortal would be burnt to ashes on the spot. Dao weapon. Is this the Dao weapon that only a few immortals have? Tisk tsk tsk. A great Dao weapon. After refining it, it is much stronger than an immemorial divine weapon. The young master took the flying knife and bought a medicinal treasure worth 100,000 Dao crystals. Then he slowly cut it open. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. They wanted to know what other rare spiritual herbs this young master would get. This time, it was a divine treasure worth 100,000 Dao crystals. Could it be that he would get an ancient herb that was 1,000,000 years old? Old Taoist divine fraud looked as if his father had just died. He wanted to cry but had no tears. No one knew that this young master was also a fat sheep that he had tricked to cut the stone. A fat sheep. He was a fat sheep. Damn it. I wonder how many rare spiritual herbs he had taken from the gambling house. Big loss, big loss. This time, he would definitely be severely punished by Master Luck. Ning Fan did not care about what the young lady got. What he was more concerned about was the Dao weapon in her hand. Dao weapon. Ning Fan also had a great Dao weapon. His Dao weapon was the memory-severing Dao sword. It was the Dao of memory. It could sever people's memories. Judging from the tone of the cultivators here, a Dao weapon was an extremely rare immortal weapon even among immortals. However, a Dao weapon still needed to be refined seriously in order to unleash its great power. Ning Fan's memory-severing Dao sword seemed to have never been refined before, and he did not know how to refine a Dao weapon at all. If I have the time, I should look for some methods to refine a Dao weapon and turn my memory-severing Dao sword into a powerful Dao weapon. In the future, a Dao weapon would certainly be a great help when he faces powerful life immortal realm enemies. As for immemorial divine weapons, they seem to be really outdated. Unless they were divine weapons made from high-grade star iron, only then would they be helpful to Ning Fan. This is. After the young master made the last cut, the eyes of countless cultivators at the scene became as hot as fire. This time, what the young master's ancestor got out was not a single spiritual herb, but an entire spiritual root. A spiritual root that was filled with immortality peaches. It was the legendary immortality peach tree. More than 10 life immortal realm cultivators flew over from all directions. They had long been paying attention to the situation here. They already knew that this young master had a powerful background, and they could not afford to offend him. They also knew how mysterious this immortality peach tree was. They came here just to buy 1 or 2 immortality peaches from this young master with Tao crystals. As soon as he saw so many life immortal realm cultivators, the black-robed life immortal realm cultivator immediately became nervous. He took half a step to the side and protected the young master behind him, afraid that someone would attack him out of greed. The 3 life immortals of Shao's realm, including Master Yun, chuckled and took a few steps forward. They cupped their fists at the black-robed life immortal realm cultivators. You don't have to worry. We will never attack the people of the medicine sect. We don't have the guts to do so. These life immortal realm cultivators had already seen through the young master's background. Thus, they naturally did not dare to offend him. Medicine sect. As soon as they heard the name of the medicine sect, all the cultivators at the scene were shocked. There were 2 great pill concoction sects in the Eastern Heaven immortal world. One was the pill sect while the other was the medicine sect. In recent years, the strength of the medicine sect was vaguely above that of the pill sect. It was already showing signs of becoming the #1 pill concoction sect in the Eastern Heaven. The sect master of the medicine sect was very mysterious. He had always been elusive. Outsiders did not even know his real name. However, there was once a true immortal realm force that offended the medicine sect. Half a year later, that true immortal realm force was annihilated by 19 true immortals. It was said that the 19 true immortals were hired by the sect master of the medicine sect. The scariness of the medicine sect was evident. The black-robed life immortal realm cultivator was slightly relieved when he saw that the true immortals knew what was good for them. However, he still had his guard up. On the other hand, the young master had a leisurely expression. He waved his hand and said, "Uncle Wei, don't be nervous. Before I left, my master gave me a 9-revolution death-chasing pill. Whoever kills me will be crazily avenged by my master. They won't dare to touch me. My master is the sect master of the medicine sect." 9-revolution death-chasing pill. A few of the life immortals gasped. Some of them gritted their teeth and erased the trace of killing intent in their hearts. The death-chasing pill was a tracking pill. If the user of the pill was killed, the concoction master would know who the killer was. There were high and low grades of the death-chasing pill. If it was the 9-revolution death-chasing pill, even if a true immortal harmed the young master, the sect master of the medicine sect would also know. This young master was the only disciple of the sect master of the medicine sect. The sect master of the medicine sect valued her very much. If someone harmed her, he would definitely do his best to avenge her. We wouldn't dare. Why would we attack the disciple of the sect master of the medicine sect for an external object? A few life immortal old monsters smiled embarrassedly. The young master wasn't interested in their attitude at all. She walked around the peach tree 3 times and examined it with the power of her medicine soul. After that, she remained silent. After a long time, she retracted her medicine soul and revealed a disappointed look. It's just a 3,000 years old peach tree. A 3,000 years old peach can delay the heavenly tribulation for 3,000 years. It's not that useful. Not that useful? Not that useful? Each of the life immortals was speechless. How could a heavenly material and earthly treasure that could delay the heavenly tribulation for 3,000 years be useless? If those life immortals who had gone through countless heavenly tribulations didn't have the confidence to pass the next heavenly tribulation, they could live for 3,000 years by just eating a peach of immortality. How could such a life-saving treasure be useless? However, a 3,000 years old peach of immortality was only useful to life immortals. It was indeed useless to true immortals. Perhaps the young master was speaking for her master when she said that it was useless. "I'm tired. I don't want to play anymore. Uncle Wei, Please keep the immortality peach tree. Let's go back and rest. I'm so tired. The young master stretched his back comfortably. Under the sunlight, his pure little face was as bright and beautiful as the first warm sun. The life immortal with the surname Wei didn't dare to be slow. He immediately put away the immortal peach tree. He could only show a helpless expression towards those life immortals who wanted to buy the immortal peaches. His little ancestor didn't seem to want to sell peaches, so it was useless even if these people wanted to buy them. Who asked his little ancestor to never lack money? The most stingy sect master in the world was the most generous to this little disciple. Every year, a red packet would be worth hundreds of millions of Dao crystal. All the disciples of the herbal sect knew that their eldest senior sister, Ouyang Nuan, was the fairest, richest and most beautiful woman in the herbal sect. And why is it you? You also want to cut divine treasures for fun? Are you here to cut the medicine and hide it? Quickly cut it for me to see. Ouyang Nuan suddenly saw Ning Fan, who was standing behind the crowd, and revealed a bright smile. Ning Fan was startled. He didn't expect that a girl whom he had only met once would remember him. The eyes of all the old monsters on the scene instantly focused on Ning Fan. Who is this person? He actually knows a disciple of the medicine sect. I've seen this person before. He's the devil lord of the bloody slaughter chaotic devil 7 stars, old devil Qian Qiu. What? The old devil who rewarded me with 30 million gold coins. It's him. Some time ago, I saw Hong Mo and the others trying to trick him in the tea house. In the end, after he left with them, Hong Mo and the others never returned. As for the 2 devil lords who were originally in the group of Hong Mo, they were all taken away by someone else. Hong Mo was sold to the male cauldron pavilion. Needless to say, he was the one who eliminated Hong Mo and the others all by himself. The old Taoist priest's face instantly turned pale. The little sheep that he had his eyes on turned out to be such a ruthless devil lord. That's right. Didn't I see the little sheep going to the slaughter pavilion? That's to receive the reward. The reward of the heads of 2 devil lords. I'm finished. Of all the people I could have tricked, why did I have to trick such a ruthless devil lord? Shameless. Shameless. Why does such a ruthless devil lord look like a little sheep? Only a ghost would be able to tell that he is a great devil lord. Oh, you're Taoist priest Qian Qiu? I've heard of you before. You're quite powerful, aren't you? You even dared to eliminate the subordinate forces of the 7 Fiend sect. Actually, I also hate the 7 Fiend sect very much. Ouyang Nuan spoke to Ning Fan with a smile as if they were very familiar with each other. Ning Fan's expression was extremely strange. Ever since he entered the Eastern Heaven, he had never called himself Old Ancestor Qian Qiu. Even when he occasionally talks to others, he always calls himself Ning Fan. Why does everyone think that I'm Old Ancestor Qian Qiu? Actually, he really did not mind using his real name. After all, there were at least a few million people who called himself Ning Fan in the 4 heavens. Who would know that he had ascended from the lower world? Taoist priest, quickly cut the herbs and hide them. I'm still waiting. Let me see if you can get anything good out of them. If you can get a 1 million years old spiritual herb, I'll recommend you to my master, and let you become the 2nd senior brother of the medicine sect. You'll be my junior brother who is second only to me, okay? Chapter 705. Ning Fan shook his head, declining to comment on Ouyang Nuan's words. Speaking of which, this was actually his first encounter with Ouyang Nuan. Back at the city gate, he had only seen her from afar, so it didn't really count. It was his first time meeting a person, but he was so enthusiastic towards him. It was really hard for him to bear. However, Ning Fan had to admit that Ouyang Nuan had a unique temperament that was very attractive. Her smile was like the rising sun, giving people a sense of warmth. My apologies, I already have a master and I will not be joining another sect. At the very least, he would not be joining the medicine sect as a disciple. If he had to join the medicine sect, he would do so as a guest elder. However, if he wanted to be a guest elder of a true immortal force, he should at least have the strength of a life immortal. Ning Fan was well aware of his own limitations. He would not be so arrogant as to join the medicine sect. Furthermore, he was busy searching for the immortal soul herb, and did not have the time to join the herbal sect. Speaking of which, Ning Fan was the dignified sect master of the Black Devil sect. This status was not low at all. However, it seemed to be useless in the Eastern Heaven. Ah, you have a master? What a pity. By the way, how about I recommend you to be a guest elder of my medicine sect? Ouyang said with a smile. Little master, you can't. The lowest requirement to become a guest elder of the herbal sect is to have a life immortal cultivation, or a pill refinement mastery above the 7th revolution. This person is not qualified. Life Immortal Wei said anxiously. Uncle Wei, it seems like you can't go against my decision? Ouyang smiled at the Life Immortal surnamed Wei. She was in a good mood. The Life Immortal with the surname Wei felt helpless. He looked at Ning Fan and smiled bitterly. Little friend Qianqiu, my little master's medicine soul is unique. She can sense the good and the bad of a person's heart. The person she hates must have a hateful side, and the person she likes must have a good side that no one knows about. Young master has a good impression of you. Although young friend has a bad reputation, you are definitely not a crafty person. It's just that my medicine sect is extremely strict when it comes to accepting disciples, and it's even stricter when it comes to recruiting guest elders. Little friend, do you think about this matter regarding guest elders? All right. Indeed, he was not strong enough to resist the eldest Miss Thai. Then he would change his strategy and beg Ning Fan to give up on becoming the medicine sect's foreign elder. Ning Fan naturally understood what the Life Immortal Realm cultivator with the surname Wei meant. He knows that he does not have the right to become a foreign elder of the medicine sect, but he has no desire to hug the medicine sect's thigh. This Life Immortal surnamed Wei seemed to have underestimated him. Senior, don't worry. I know my own limits. I will not accept the position of guest elder. He then turned towards Ouyang and cupped his fists politely towards her. I appreciate Lady Ouyang good intentions. However, I still have important matters to attend to and I really have no intention of joining the medicine sect. These words were spoken through voice transmission. Ning Fan speculated that the reason why Ouyang hid her gender was probably because she was afraid that her gender would attract trouble. Therefore, he would not expose Ouyang identity as a woman in front of outsiders. After hearing Ning Fan's words, Ouyang eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. At the same time, a hint of pity rose in her heart. What surprised her was that Ning Fan had already seen through her identity as a woman. It was a pity that a talented Pill Dao elite like Ning Fan was actually unwilling to join the medicine sect. It made her feel indignant for a pearl that was covered in dust. Her medicine soul was very special. It was a 5-colored medicine soul recorded in the ancient legends. She was able to repeatedly find good medicine troves because of her 5-colored medicine soul, not because her medicine soul was close to rank 7. With her 5-colored medicine soul, she could see through people's hearts. With just a glance, she could tell whether a person was good or evil. She could tell that even though Ning Fan was not a kind person, he was not a cunning person either. Forget it. If you are unwilling to join the medicine sect, I will not force you. How about we become friends? My name is Ouyang and your Dao name is Qianqiu. Could it be that your real name is also Qianqiu? Ouyang asked using voice transmission. Friends? Ning Fan was stunned. He had a lot of women but he had very few friends. Ning Gu was his younger brother. They could not be considered as friends, right? In terms of friends, Mu Luo was one. Lu Haoyue was one. Wu Chen was also one. As for the rest, there seemed to be none. Forget it. Since you are unwilling to be friends with me, let's just forget about it. Ouyang did not act pretentiously, and replied him using voice transmission with a faint smile. Ning Fan. Ning Fan replied and walked towards the small garden that was filled with medicine troves. No matter what, he could see that this lady did not have any evil intentions towards him. Her medicine soul was very powerful. He could not read her mind through the mind-reading technique. Also, he did not want to do that. Since this lady kept wanting to watch him cut the medicine troves, he might as well cut a few. His medicine soul was not as powerful as Ouyang 5-colored medicine soul. However, his luck was better than hers. After hearing Ning Fan tell her his real name, Ouyang revealed a warm smile. She quietly watched him choose the medicine troves, but did not say anything to disturb or help him. Pieces of gigantic bluestone were piled up in the small garden. All of them were divine chests. The price of each bluestone was clearly marked on it. The lowest price was 10,000 while the highest price could even reach 10 million. Ning Fan walked in the small garden and touched each bluestone with his palm. However, he did not spread out his medicine soul to sense them. With the level of his medicine soul, it was impossible for him to sense the spiritual herbs through the seal of the divine chests. His medicine soul was not the legendary medicine soul from the ancient times. It was not that powerful. He closed his eyes, and wisps of black light of providence gradually rose around his body. Ordinary cultivators could not see the light of luck. However, those who could enter the heaven-grade trading city would not be ordinary cultivators. Black luck. It's the worst luck. This young man's luck is so bad, but he still dares to cut the divine chests. Master Luck looked at Ning Fan with a strange expression. After all, he was the one who opened this immortal luck casino. After running a gambling house for his entire life, he had seen all kinds of cultivators, including cultivators with bad luck. There had never been a cultivator with bad luck who could win half a Dao crystal from the gambling den. They had always suffered a huge loss. From his point of view, if Ning Fan, this unlucky cultivator, cut open the divine chests, he would certainly not get anything good out of it. Instead, he would just be wasting his money. Normally, a life immortal realm expert like him would not pay attention to a junior at the 7th broken realm like Ning Fan. If it wasn't because he could tell that Ning Fan had a close relationship with the disciples of the medicine sect, he would not care about what color Ning Fan's luck was. The other old monsters on the scene also looked at Ning Fan with strange gazes. The life immortal with the surname Wei, who was standing behind Ouyang Nuan, shook his head speechlessly. It's actually bad luck. Ouyang Nuan's eyes flickered with surprise. In her opinion, Ning Fan should not be a person with extremely bad luck. Her senses had always been very accurate. After all, her 5-colored medicine soul was very sensitive. She firmly believed in her intuition. She firmly believed that Ning Fan would be able to find out something unexpected. Uncle Wei, do you also think that he will lose money like the others? Of course. He has bad luck. It wouldn't be strange for him to get 100-years-old spiritual herb. He might even get a dangerous treasure. As soon as the life immortal with the surname Wei mentioned the word dangerous treasure, the expressions of all the cultivators on the scene, including the life immortal realm experts, changed, and they hurriedly retreated. It was really hard to say. Since Ning Fan's luck was extremely bad, the possibility of him getting a dangerous treasure was definitely not small. Perhaps many people here would die because of Ning Fan's dangerous treasure. Ning Fan closed his eyes and walked across the small garden. His palms touched the bluestones one after another. Cutting the medicinal chests could only depend on luck. Firstly, he had no experience, and secondly, he did not have a powerful medicine soul. With his purple luck, Ning Fan would have a mysterious feeling in his heart when he passed by some bluestones occasionally. Every time that happened, he would open his eyes and pay the Dao crystals to buy the medicinal chests. Along the way to the end of the small garden, Ning Fan had already bought 17 medicinal chests. Among them, the cheapest one was worth 50,000 Dao crystals, while the most expensive one was worth 10 million Dao crystals. This young man is really generous. Is he actually going to cut 10 million divine chests? Cough. No matter how rich he is, he can't be so wasteful like this. He has bad luck. The 10 million divine chests that he has chosen definitely won't have anything good. Is he going to cut the stones now? He won't really get a dangerous treasure, will he? Voices of discussion spread in the surroundings, but none of them could disturb Ning Fan's state of mind. Looking at the 17 bluestones in front of him, his expression was as calm as an ancient well. He was the one who chose the divine chests. Even if all of them were to suffer a loss, he would not care at all. Since he had chosen the path that he wanted to walk on, he must have the courage to bear all the consequences. To cut the stones, he would need to buy a blade of Dao power that was specially made by the Heavenly Fortune Casino. Each blade cost 500,000 Dao crystals. Ouyang Nuan released the power of her medicine soul and sensed the 17 divine chests that Ning Fan had chosen. Her tranquil and small face gradually turned solemn. There was even a hint of disbelief. This place actually has such an item. Why didn't I notice it before? Did I miss it? Ouyang let out a faint sigh and wiped away the frustration on her face. She walked to Ning Fan's side and turned around to instruct the life immortal Wei. Uncle Wei, lend me your Dao weapon. I will help him cut the stones. Dao weapons belong to the cultivator themselves. They were born because of the Dao. Outsiders could not take them away. They could be lent to others. However, as long as the cultivator willed it, it would return to their body. The life immortal Wei smiled awkwardly and took out a fiery red flying dagger. He did not want to show off his Dao weapon too much. However, since the young master had instructed him to do so, how could he refuse? You want to help me cut the stones? Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly solemn as if he had noticed something. His gaze swept across the 17 blue stones. Trust me. Ouyang eyes also turned slightly solemn. Ning Fan seemed to have understood something and gave Ouyang a grateful smile. He knew that Ouyang wanted to help him. Therefore, even though he was heartless, he would still give her a kind smile. Ning Fan raised his palm. Traces of the power of memory formed in his palm like wind and snow, turning into a small black golden sword. At the moment the small sword appeared, even the life immortals present were shocked. Dao weapon. This kid's cultivation base is only at the 7th Shatterer level, but he has a Dao weapon. This is the second step in 10th realm. This child actually cultivated the power of concepts to the second step. The life immortal with the surname Wei was also shocked. He had always been proud of the fact that few life immortals of the same level as him had a Dao weapon, but he did. Now that they saw Ning Fan actually had a Dao soldier, how could they not be shocked? To be able to possess a Dao weapon before becoming an immortal. Which one of them wasn't a person with shocking aptitude? Previously, he had underestimated Ning Fan. With such a high aptitude, why can't he be a guest of the medicine sect? This is your Dao soldier? Ouyang mouth was agape. With her status and experience, it was rare for her to be so surprised. Okay, I'll lend you the stone. Ning Fan passed the small black golden sword to Ouyang. Since she treated him with sincerity, he would naturally return the favor. Receiving the small black gold sword, Ouyang caressed the ice-cold body of the sword. She realized that this Dao weapon had not been refined, but when he thought about it, he felt that it was normal. Refining a Dao soldier required at least a life immortal's cultivation. You don't mind embarrassing yourself, do you? Ouyang revealed a sly look. I don't mind. It's fine as long as I don't lose my life. Ning Fan's words carried a deep meaning. He knew that the divine chests that he had chosen must contain some extraordinary items. If it's a grave, it would certainly kill countless people, including himself. If it's a treasure tomb, there might be some extremely rare and precious ancient medicines inside. Cutting it open in front of everyone might cause too many people to hunt him down. Ouyang wanted to help him avoid cutting the divine chests. Both of them were not related to each other, but Ouyang wanted to help him. This was what made Ning Fan sigh with emotion. It was also what made him feel grateful towards Ouyang. Then I'll cut it open. I'll cut this one that's worth 100,000 first. Ouyang raised her hand and the small black gold sword turned into a black sword that was 3 feet long. She did not cut the stone carefully like how she usually did. Instead, she directly cut the green stone into 2 with a slash. Chi with a slash of the sword. All the spiritual medicines inside the divine chests were cut into 2 pieces. Their medicinal chi rapidly flowed away. Countless cultivators were shocked by Ouyang shocking method of cutting the stone. Ning Fan, however, was not surprised at all. He shook his head helplessly. Sometimes luck is really unreliable. The spiritual medicine that was destroyed by Ouyang was a stock of 100 years old spiritual medicine. Naturally, no one would feel sorry for the destruction of this kind of spiritual medicine. One of the treasures was actually a 100-year-old spiritual herb. Each of the old monsters looked at Ning Fan with deep sympathy. This was the black luck. Spending 100,000 Dao crystals only to get 100 years old spiritual medicine. How pitiful. Next, the one that's worth 50,000. Chi another slash of the sword. A stalk of 1,000 years old spiritual medicine was cut into pieces by Ouyang Nuan. Cough cough. 1,000 years old spiritual medicine. This kid has lost another 50,000 Dao crystals. When Ouyang Nuan saw that Ning Fan's expression did not change, she smiled and continued to cut the stone. Next, the one that's worth 200,000. Qi 500 years old spiritual medicine. Next, the one that's worth 500,000. Qi 10,000 years old spiritual medicine. Next, not long after, Ouyang Nuan had cut open 11 medicinal chests. There were only 6 left. Among the 11 spiritual medicines that she cut, the oldest one was only 20,000 years old. I'm not cutting anymore. I'll return this Dao weapon to you. It's useless to cut it again. As for the remaining 6 medicinal chests, I'll keep them as souvenirs. Ouyang Nuan returned the small black golden sword to Ning Fan and winked at him in an unnoticeable manner. Ning Fan understood her meaning and nodded his head, keeping the remaining 6 medicinal chests into his storage pouch. The others looked at Ning Fan with sympathy. He had spent more than 10 million Dao crystals, but all he got was a pile of trash spiritual medicines. As expected of a cultivator with black luck, he would definitely lose every bet. The remaining 6 medicinal chests are not ominous treasures. You can cut them in a place where there's no one around. Don't let anyone see you. Otherwise, even a true immortal might kill you and snatch your treasures. Ouyang Nuan then said to Ning Fan using telepathy, "Thank you." Ning Fan cupped his fists to express his gratitude. Ouyang Nuan returned his gesture with a smile. "Your luck is really good. Perhaps it's because you appeared here that your luck interfered with me. That's why I didn't notice the existence of that thing. However, the Tao of luck doesn't necessarily mean that the higher the luck, the better. Sometimes, things will go in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Just like what happened today, you might get yourself into trouble by relying too much on luck. You have to be more careful in the future, Tao Master Ning." Ning Fan thanked Ouyang Nuan again for her reminder. Ning Fan knew that she was right. Luck could help Ning Fan cut out some good items. However, if his luck was too good, it might cause him to cut out something too precious in front of everyone, which would make those powerful cultivators jealous and fight for the treasures. This was the calamity brought about by luck. The Tao of the world. Things will always go in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. It's just like luck in life. The two extremes of life and death are life and death. The end of life is death while the end of death is life. This is the life and death in the cycle of samsara. Transcending the cycle of life and death and attaining immortality. There's no end to this longevity. If immortality is destroyed, it means eternal death and there's no way to reincarnate. Things will go in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Ning Fan's heart was filled with enlightenment. Ouyang Nuan, on the other hand, showed a bored expression and wanted to leave. "Do you still want to continue cutting the stones? If not, I'm not going to watch anymore. I'll be leaving first." I still want to cut some beast chests." Ning Fan nodded his head. He did not forget his original intention. Wasn't the purpose of coming to the casino to earn money? Most of the 6 beast chests were rare herbs. They could not be sold casually. If he wants to earn money, he could not count on those 6 beast chests anymore. Beast chests? As soon as Ouyang Nuan heard his words, her eyes immediately lit up. She seemed to be very interested. "Then continue cutting. I want to see what interesting things you can get from them. However, you have to be more careful this time because I don't really know how to distinguish between good and bad beast chests. If you get another rare beast chests, I'm afraid I won't be able to help you conceal it. It's all right. I still know a little about the pros and cons of beast chests." As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan walked towards the small garden where the beast chests were placed. Each of the void fragmentation realm old monsters was speechless when they saw Ning Fan still daring to cut the stones after losing more than 10 million Dao crystals. 10 million Dao crystals was a huge amount of money to a void fragmentation realm expert. No matter how rich Ning Fan was, he did not need to go against money, right? He clearly knew that his luck was bad, but he still wanted to cut the stones. He was really not turning back until he hit the wall. Perhaps this was the psychology of gamblers. The more they lost, the more they wanted to fight, and the more they would lose. The Life Immortal Realm experts at the scene also shook their heads slightly. They looked down on Ning Fan's determination. As a cultivator, there was no harm in gambling one's luck or one's life. However, the biggest taboo was not being able to afford to lose. Being unable to afford to lose meant that this person's determination was too weak. How could the path of cultivation be smooth sailing? How could one win every single time? If one does not have a strong heart and accept failure calmly, it would be very difficult to reach the peak of the path of cultivation. While everyone was thinking about it, Ning Fan had already bought a beast chest worth 1 million Dao crystals, and started to cut the stones. Ning Fan knew what he would get from the stones with his ancestral blood. He was not worried at all. The old monsters at the scene, however, shook their heads and sighed. There's no need to look anymore. This young man must have thrown the Dao crystals into the water again. Perhaps he might get a small vein-opening realm beast from the stone chests. Ning Fan closed his eyes and cut the stones. With his ancestral blood, he knew the location of the demonic beasts in the divine chests. He held the small black golden sword in his hand and cut the stones at an extremely fast speed. The others were worried about him, afraid that he would accidentally cut the beast chests to death. However, he was not worried at all. Very soon, the stone clothes were completely cut off. As expected, many people guessed the beginning of the beast chests correctly. They guessed that the small beast in the beast chests was a small vein-opening realm beast. However, no one guessed the ending correctly. When they saw the cute and obedient furry beast sleeping soundly, everyone was shocked. When Ning Fan carried the furry little beast into his arms, the Immortal Cloud Casino was already full of discussions. True blood demonic beast. It's a true spirit seed with a pure bloodline. This beast has just opened up its demon veins and has never awakened its blood. It is already a beast with true blood. If it goes through 3 rounds of awakening its bloodline might even reach the king grade. This beast is very likely to become a king beast in the future. Speaking of which, what kind of beast is this? Why have I never heard of it before? This is. I recognize this beast. This beast is an extinct ancient true spirit, Ling Xian. What? It's actually Ling Xian. It's said that once it goes through 9 rounds of evolution, it will dare to feed on true immortals. If we can keep this beast as our demon pet, and raise it until it goes through 9 rounds of evolution. Each of the Life Immortal Realm old monsters stared at the white furry ball in Ning Fan's arms greedily. Ning Fan was straightforward. After cutting out this beast, he did not plan to keep it. He also did not have the patience to spend hundreds of thousands of years to raise it until it goes through 9 rounds of evolution. The reason why he cut out this beast was just to sell it for money. 100 million Dao crystals for this beast. He asked for a price that shocked all the Life Immortal Realm experts present. 100 million? 100 million is enough to buy such a promising demonic beast? Even though this beast might not be able to awaken its king-grade bloodline, and even if it does, it might not be able to complete 9 rounds of evolution, spending 100 million Dao crystals to buy a possibility was still worth it. Just when a few Life Immortal Realm experts wanted to buy this beast, Ouyang stared at the white furry ball in Ning Fan's arms and said in a low voice, This little thing is so cute. I want it. Can you sell it to me? Swooshed at as soon as Ouyang spoke, the few Life Immortal Realm experts who wanted to buy this beast sighed, and did not dare to compete with her. How would they dare to compete with the medicine sect for this beast? You want it? Ning Fan was stunned. After thinking for a while, he directly handed the furry ball to Ouyang. If you want it, I'll give it to you as a token of my appreciation. If it wasn't for Ouyang, Ning Fan would probably get into big trouble from the medicine vault. Ning Fan disdained to ask for this 100 million Dao crystals from his benefactor. Among the beast vaults in this place, there were plenty of beasts that could earn him money. Giving one to Ouyang was not a big deal. Are you giving it to me? Ouyang hugged the furry ball lovingly. When she looked at Ning Fan, a hint of a smile reached the bottom of her eyes. Then I won't stand on ceremony and accept it. This little furry ball is so cute. Let's call it Ning Xiaoqiu and call it Hairy Ball for your nickname. What? The life immortal realm expert with the surname Wei was shocked. As far as he knew, there were countless men who wanted to curry favor with her. However, his little ancestor had never accepted any gifts from any man. She actually accepted the thing that Ning Fan gave her. Was it because she really liked this little animal, or? Ning Fan was speechless. It's enough to just call that ugly little fellow Harry Ball. Why did she call him Ning Xiaoqiu? His surname is Ning. Is Youngwon trying to humiliate him? This lady can't be that bored, right? Does she like him? No way. Even though this lady has a good impression of him, she doesn't have any feelings for him. At most, they are just friends. Is it just a prank between friends? Forget it. So be it, Ning Xiaoqiu. Oh right. Isn't that old ancestor Qianqiu a cultivator with bad luck? How did he manage to get such a powerful beast vault? Could it be that today is the day when the heavenly secret officially moves to the east? It's the day when people with bad luck like us can make a comeback. The old Taoist priest kept pinching his fingers and calculating with a puzzled expression. That's not right. That's not right. The heavenly secret is still intact today. It hasn't moved to the east. How did this little fat lamb manage to get such a valuable beast vault? The old Taoist priest looked at Ning Fan with a puzzled expression, while some life immortal realm old monsters fell into deep thought. Did you step on dog poop when you went out today? The old Taoist priest suddenly pointed at Ning Fan and asked with a nervous expression. That's right. It must be Ning Fan who stepped on dog poop when he went out. If that's not the case, then he must have made a huge mistake in calculating the heavenly secret. The reason why the old Taoist priest swindled and deceived people for so many years was because of his flawless calculation. If he really miscalculated the heavenly secret once, he would be wrong every time in the future. It's over. It's all over. I hope it's not a mistake. Stepped on dog poop? Ning Fan looked at the old Taoist priest speechlessly. If he really had to step on a pile of dog poop to get lucky once, he would have no idea how much dog poop he would step on in his life. Ignoring the old Taoist priest, Ning Fan continued to choose the beast vault. The old Taoist priest, on the other hand, raised his head and laughed heartily. He gradually regained his confidence. That's right. This little fat lamb just got lucky once. It shouldn't be the second time. The heavenly secret will move to the east in an instant. He won't get lucky twice in a row. I want this. Ning Fan bought another beast vault at the price of 2 million Dao crystals. The old Taoist priest's heart immediately jumped to his throat. Those life immortal realm experts, however, looked at Ning Fan seriously. No one disturbed him while he was cutting the stones. All of them noticed that Ning Fan did not choose the beast vault because of his luck. It was his divine ability. This young man has the ability to distinguish the quality of the beast vaults. Swish. Swish. Ning Fan rapidly cut open pieces of the stone. At the moment he cut open the stone, the chi of a ferocious beast that was comparable to a life immortal realm expert spread out from the divine vault. It was a flying beast that was shrouded in bloodlight. Its face could not be seen clearly. Without saying a word, Ning Fan hurriedly retreated to the back of the life immortal realm experts and said indifferently, I'll sell this beast for 100 million Dao crystals. Those who want it will have to capture it first and then pay for it. This is the true spirit blood goose. All the life immortal realm experts immediately held their breaths. Their eyes were filled with excitement. Immediately, 3 early human profound realm old monsters made their moves to capture that ferocious beast. Even though the beast was only at the early human profound realm, its speed was not any slower than a late human profound realm expert. It was an excellent mount. No one is allowed to snatch this true spirit blood goose from me. I'm going to buy this beast. A mid-human profound realm short old man whose body was covered in blood chi casually tossed a storage pouch to Ning Fan. There were 200 million Dao crystals inside. Consider the extra money as a reward for you. I've set up a reward of 100 million Dao crystals to search for the true spirit blood goose everywhere. However, I couldn't find it no matter where I went. This beast is compatible with the cultivation method that I cultivate. If I ride this mount, its speed will definitely surpass the human profound realm. Those who are not ghost profound realm cultivators can forget about surpassing me in speed. No one is allowed to snatch this beast from me. Chapter 706. Don't even think about snatching this beast from me. The short old man leaped into the sky and attacked in a domineering manner. His hands were like bones, but they were as fast as lightning. In an instant he slapped the 3 life immortals 3 times. The 3 life immortals were early human profound realm experts. They were in charge of a region. They were enraged when they saw the short old man's arrogance. Their angry expressions had just appeared, but when they saw the 3 bloody handprints coming at them, the 3 of them broke out in a cold sweat. Blood void handprint. Your Shuekongzi. The 3 of them took out their immortal treasures without hesitation. However, their treasures were smashed by the bloody handprints. The 3 of them felt a pain in their chests and fell heavily to the ground. Although they weren't seriously injured, their breathing was chaotic. The impact of the 3 life immortals hitting the ground caused the entire Shaozi Star to tremble. Shuekongzi. This is Shaozi Star, not a place for you to act presumptuously. Master Yun and the other 2 Shaozi Star Fate Immortals took a step forward and looked at the short old man solemnly. The short old man's name was Shuekongzi. He was a great devil in the Eastern Heaven immortal world. He had killed countless people and was rewarded with 2 billion Dao crystals. Although he was a mid-human profound realm expert, he was only half a step away from the late human profound realm. He had killed more than 10 life immortal old monsters. He was definitely a ruthless person. Even some late human profound realm old monsters would be afraid of him and wouldn't want to get involved with him. Among the life immortals present, there were only 2 late human profound realm experts. They weren't Shaozi Star Fate Immortals, so they didn't want to interfere with Shuekongzi's business. Life Immortal Wei's eyes were extremely solemn. He immediately protected Ouyang Nuan behind him. He was a mid-human profound realm expert and had a Dao weapon, but he was still no match for Shuekongzi. Don't worry. I just happened to pass by the sky-level trading city and found a true spirit blood goose here. I got excited and came to join in the fun. I don't have any intention to kill. I'm in a good mood today, so I won't kill anyone. Shuekongzi laughed and licked his lips as he looked at the true spirit blood goose that was about to fly. Little guy, I've been wanting a true spirit blood goose for a long time. Do you want to come with me? That voice carried the ability to bewitch. Shuekongzi's eyes turned crimson, and a red light shot toward the true spirit blood goose like lightning. Extreme Intent Realm. Ning Fan's eyes widened in astonishment. The Extreme Intent Realm was the power that came from the heavenly tribulation. Bone Sovereign possessed such strength, and it was unexpected that Shuekongzi possessed it as well. Moreover, Shuekongzi's Extreme Realm strength was thousands of times stronger than the Bone Emperor's. As soon as Shuekongzi sensed Shuekongzi's G-Realm strength, Shui Yan's body trembled, and she no longer dared to resist. Shuekongzi nodded with satisfaction. He recalled the red lightning and took out a beast-taming ring. He placed it on the blood goose's neck and sat on it. Make it bigger. Shuekongzi commanded. Squawk squawk. The blood goose chirped obediently and flew into the sky, growing to a length of 500,000 feet. All the cultivators in the sky-level trading city gasped when they saw the giant blood goose in the sky. A life immortal level demon beast. Shuekongzi nodded his head in satisfaction once again. Then he looked down at the crowd and looked at Ning Fan. Then he cupped his fists and greeted him. Little friend Qianqiu, I'm really grateful to you. If it wasn't for the true spirit blood goose that you gave me, I don't know how long I would have to search for it to get a mount like this. To be honest, I'm not a good person. However, I've always been able to distinguish between kindness and hatred. Since you've helped me find the true spirit blood goose, I owe you a favor. When I came to this star, I once saw the sect master of the Seven Fiends sect in a low-grade star region. He was personally leading a group of people to look for you, wanting to kill you as soon as possible. I've already obtained the true spirit blood goose, and I'm preparing to leave the Lesser Marsh star. On my way back, I'll help you solve some problems. Shuekongzi laughed heartily. As soon as he finished speaking, his body flashed and turned into a ray of blood light, flying away from the Lesser Marsh star. He had really gone to avenge Ning Fan. According to rumors, he had killed all the experts sent by the Seven Fiends sect, and even injured the mid-human Profound Realm sect master of the Seven Fiends sect, forcing him to return to the sect for seclusion to heal his wounds. However, that was a story to be told later. Ning Fan looked at the escaping light that Xue Kongzi left in, and then looked at the Dao crystal in his hand with a thoughtful expression. Did the sect master of the Seven Fiends sect personally come to seek revenge on me? This Xue Kongzi seems to be forthright, but I wonder if he's really such a straightforward person. Is he going to deal with the Seven Fiends sect when he said that he'll help me solve some problems? Or is he going to inform the Seven Fiends sect about my whereabouts? It was just Ning Fan's first meeting with Xue Kongzi. It was certainly impossible for him to trust him. Fortunately, whether Xue Kongzi was kind or malicious, Ning Fan was not afraid. Whether the sect master of the Seven Fiends sect chased after him or not, Ning Fan was not afraid. He only needed to use the Black Devil escape, and he would be able to escape openly without being afraid of being pursued by any Life Immortal Realm cultivators. Of course, if Xue Kongzi really helps him to deal with the Seven Fiends sect, Ning Fan would definitely remember this favor. After keeping the 200 million Dao crystals, Ning Fan looked at the expressions of the Life Immortals present and fell into deep thought. The Life Immortals present were already convinced that even though Ning Fan's luck was not good, his abilities were astonishing and he had the means to identify the quality of the beast vaults. Some of the Life Immortals were still waiting for him to cut out the powerful demon beasts to purchase. However, Master Yun and the other Life Immortals of the Lesser Marsh Star were looking at him with complicated expressions. They wanted to see him continue to cut out the beast vaults, but they were also afraid that he would take away all the good things, making them feel heartache. Ning Fan fell into silence. Xue Kongzi's Dao was extreme. He would do anything to the extreme. The Dao of Luck also had extreme changes. Things will always move in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Ning Fan was seriously thinking about this principle. If he continues to cut out the precious spiritual beasts, he was afraid that he would offend the 3 Life Immortals of the Lesser Marsh Star. He still wanted to participate in the auction. He did not want to cause any more trouble. After thinking for a while, Ning Fan held the small black golden sword and bought another 21 beast vaults. He only cut out 2 of them, and both of them were true spirit mounts. He sold them to 2 Life Immortals and earned another 200 million Dao crystals. As for the remaining 19 beast vaults, he gave them to the 3 true immortals of the Lesser Marsh Star. Ning Fan did not say much. However, which old monster here was not a shrewd person? All of them knew what Ning Fan's intention was. Needless to say, the demon beasts and devil beasts hidden in these 19 beast vaults were certainly precious. Ning Fan bought them but did not take them. Instead, he gave them to Master Yun and the other 2 Life Immortals. Master Yun and the other 2 Life Immortals immediately looked at Ning Fan with a friendly smile. After bidding farewell to Ouyang Nuan, Ning Fan left the Immortal Luck gambling house and found a temporary palace to settle down in for seclusion. Things will always move in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Perhaps he could cut out all the precious beast vaults and earn billions of Dao crystals. However, he definitely would not be able to bring these Dao crystals out of the Lesser Marsh Star with his life. After visiting the Immortal Luck gambling house once, Ning Fan already had 420 million Dao crystals. With such wealth, it would not be difficult for him to bid for the star plate of the ancient realm. He just had to wait for a year before the auction would begin. Inside the temporary palace, Ning Fan dismissed all the female cultivators who were serving him. Then, with a sway of his body, he entered the profound Yin world. The empty thatched hut always reminded Ning Fan of the lady who had already left. A trace of longing rose in his heart. However, he quickly hid it deep in his heart. Today, he did not come here to see the treasures and think of her. He came here to cut the medicinal herbs. Ouyang Nuan helped him cover it up, and didn't reveal the elixirs in the 6 herb vaults to the world. Since they were not exposed, it saved him a lot of trouble. Ning Fan really wanted to know what kind of spiritual medicines were sealed in the 6 medicinal herbs vaults that could make Ouyang Nuan's face turn solemn. Even if she cut out a 3,000 years old immortal peach tree, Ouyang Nuan still looked indifferent. However, One should know that the market price of a 3,000 years old immortal peach was 500 million Dao crystals. There were dozens of immortal peaches on the tree, but Ouyang Nuan did not care at all. Is this lady too rich, or does she have no concept of money at all? When he thought about how the dignified sect master of the Black Devil clan, an old devil with a true immortal realm cultivation base, actually held a grudge over 1 billion Dao crystals, he felt speechless. Thinking about it carefully, the one who would hold a grudge over such a boring matter should be the old devil. The person who seems to be the stingiest is actually the person with the broadest heart. He always tolerated the sinful disciple who betrayed him. Speaking of which, after all these years, Ming Ke should have already returned to the immemorial Dark Sparrow clan. With her royal bloodline, she would most likely become a demon ancestor with ancestral bloodline after awakening her blood 3 times. After awakening her blood, that little girl might already be at the life immortal realm. After 100 years or even a few thousand years, I can only look up to that little girl. I still need to work harder to improve my cultivation base. Ning Fan cleared his mind. He turned his hand and condensed his Dao power, turning it into the memory-severing Dao sword. He took out a medicinal herb vault and began to carefully cut out the stone clothes of the divine treasure vault. Gradually, a golden apple came into his sight. Ning Fan's eyes widened. He had heard of this fruit before. This fruit was called the golden divine fruit. It used to grow in the ancient heavenly court. Before the heavenly court was destroyed, it was rumored that the heavenly deities of the ancient heavenly court often consumed the golden divine fruit to temper their bodies. The medicinal power of a golden divine fruit was enough to raise a nirvana realm cultivator's body refinement realm by 1 heavenly layer. The value of a golden divine fruit was equivalent to an emergence pill. This fruit was even more precious than the emergence pill. Since the ancient heavenly court had been destroyed, this fruit had already gone extinct. It was basically a priceless item. This fruit is really good. Ning Fan was not in a hurry to cut open the other 5 medicinal treasures. Instead, he patiently consumed the golden divine fruit and slowly refined it. He activated the power of the ancestral talisman and borrowed its power to devour the golden divine fruit. Of course, the speed at which he consumed it was extremely fast. 1 month passed in the profound Yin world. Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes. Golden rays of light shot out from them. He suddenly rose to his feet. His ancient devil essence chi sword. His ancient devil cultivation base had broken through to the 3rd heavenly layer of the revered devil realm. After resting for a few days, Ning Fan went to cut open the 2nd medicinal treasure. After cutting open the layers of stone, a purple gourd appeared in front of his eyes. The surface of the gourd was surrounded by layers of purple qi. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with doubt. He did not know what kind of spiritual medicine this gourd was. When he wanted to pick up the gourd to take a closer look, he realized that it was as heavy as a mountain. He could not lift it at all. His physical body at the 3rd heavenly layer of the revered devil realm could not even lift a gourd. Each of the purple qi on the gourd was as heavy as a mountain. These purple qi are innate qi. This gourd is an innate spiritual item. Ning Fan's eyes widened in astonishment. Innate spiritual items were the materials used to refine innate treasures. Innate treasures also had another name: the treasures of immortal emperors. Immortal emperors' treasures were not as common as other magic treasures. Even an immortal emperor would only have 2 to 3 innate treasures at most. From this, it could be seen how rare this treasure was. If this gourd were to be taken out in public, it would probably cause a commotion immediately. It might even attract immortal emperors to snatch the gourd and refine it into a treasure. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. Could it be that the reason why Ouyang Nuan protected me was because she was afraid that others would know about this purple gourd? Since I can't carry this gourd anymore, I might as well leave it in the profound Yin world. If I have the qualifications to refine innate treasures in the future, I will use this gourd to refine treasures. Ning Fan pointed at it with his finger. The soil under the gourd immediately surged upwards and lifted the gourd. In an instant, a massive gourd mountain appeared in front of Ning Fan. The purple gourd was placed on the peak of the gourd mountain. After placing the purple gourd in place, Ning Fan went to another place. He took out the third medicinal treasure and slowly cut off the stone cover. The third medicinal treasure was a 1,000,000 years old spiritual herb that looked like a Ganoderma. It was shrouded in green light. Ning Fan did not know the name of this herb. Hence he decided to call it green Ganoderma. Ning Fan held the green Ganoderma in his hand and remained silent. A 1,000,000 years old spiritual herb had extremely strong medicinal power. If a cultivator's physical body was strong enough to withstand the medicinal power, they could directly consume it and become an immortal with the help of the vast medicinal power. Unfortunately, Ning Fan did not have such a strong physical body. Even Ming Ke would need to cultivate to the 8th and 9th fragmentation realm before she dared to forcefully consume a 1,000,000 years old spiritual herb with her pill devil body. This herb was temporarily useless to him. However, if Ning Fan consumes it when he becomes an immortal, it would certainly boost his magic power and allow him to break through the shackles of the mortal profound realm. I'll keep it for myself when I become an immortal. Ning Fan made up his mind. He sealed the green Ganoderma and kept it in a jade box. Then he took out the fourth medicinal treasure. He waved the memory-severing Dao sword again and slowly cut off the stone cover. The fourth tuft of spiritual herb was another 1,000,000 years old spiritual herb. It was in the shape of a ginseng. It had small wings and was surrounded by bloody light. I don't know what this herb is. Let's call it bloodwing ginseng for now. I'll keep it for myself when I become an immortal. The bloodwing ginseng was also sealed and kept away by Ning Fan. He consecutively took out 2 tufts of 1,000,000 years old spiritual herbs. However, he did not recognize any of them. He could not help but admit that he should learn how to identify ancient herbs. Perhaps it would be a good choice to go to the medicine sect to learn pill refinement techniques. However, Ning Fan did not have the mood to do those things for the time being. His goal was to head to the ancient realm to search for the immortal soul grass. Ning Fan took out the 5th medicinal treasure and cut it open bit by bit. What appeared before his eyes was an immortal peach tree. It was a withered immortal peach tree. Although the tree was already dead, there were still 2 fragrant peaches on it. This wasn't a 3,000-year-old immortal peach or a 6,000-year-old immortal peach, but a 9,000-year-old immortal peach. A 3,000-year-old peach could help a life immortal delay a heavenly tribulation for 3,000 years. A 6,000-year-old immortal peach could help a perfected immortal delay the heavenly tribulations for 6,000 years. A 9,000-year-old immortal peach could help immortal venerables, immortal kings, and immortal emperors delay their heavenly tribulations for 9,000 years. What Ning Fan obtained was just a withered immortal peach tree, which could no longer produce more immortal peaches. However, just 2 9,000-year-old Saturn peaches were enough to attract the attention of perfected immortals and immortal emperors. Innate purple gourd, 9,000 years old immortal peach. If these things are really seen by others, I won't be able to protect them. Ning Fan sighed softly. If it wasn't for Ouyang Yuan recognizing what was inside the medicine, he would have been in big trouble. If one's luck was good, it might attract a great calamity instead. If his luck was bad, he might be able to save his life. When mortals died, they could reincarnate. The death of an immortal was eternal. Ning Fan remained silent for a long time. Eventually he took out the 6th medicine. After removing the stone layer bit by bit, what fell into his eyes was a fruit that emitted 9-colored light. It was only the size of a longan, but it had the power to bewitch the heavenly fate. When Ning Fan looked at the 9-colored dragon eye, he felt as if he had seen something unbelievable. No, that's not right. What Ouyang Yuan wanted to hide for him was not the innate purple gourd nor the 9,000-year-old immortal peach. Even if those 2 items were seen by others, Ning Fan would at most not be able to keep them. If he hands them over obediently, he might not necessarily die. However, once this item appears in the world, it was unknown how many immortal emperors would fight for it. When that time comes, rivers of blood would flow in countless star regions. The origin of this 9-colored dragon eye was extraordinary. Any pill refinement master who was at the 6th revolution and above would certainly have heard of this rare treasure. This fruit was called the Heavenly Luck Fruit. It grew on the Heavenly Luck Tree. This tree was born according to the heavenly fate. It was a mysterious tree in ancient times. According to legends, This fruit could greatly increase a cultivator's illusory luck. At the end of the path of cultivation, most of the time, it was not aptitude that mattered but luck. In ancient times, many immortal emperors did not have excellent aptitudes. There were even many people with mediocre aptitudes who cultivated to the immortal emperor realm step by step. However, it was rare for immortal emperors to have extremely bad luck. Most of them had 7-colored luck. Those with extremely bad luck would naturally have almost no luck. Without luck, it would be very difficult for them to cultivate to that legendary realm. Of course, there were also some people with extremely bad luck who forcefully became immortal emperors. Luck was not omnipotent, but it was indeed very important. Ningfan held the heavenly luck fruit in his palm. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Aptitude, temperament, hard work, luck, fate. There were too many factors that determined a cultivator's success. To stand at the peak of 1 billion worlds like immortal sovereign Zido, it was not something that could be achieved by just saying, I will work harder than anyone else. No one could be compared to Zido. His aptitude, temperament, luck and fate were unparalleled. It was precisely because of this that he could stand at the peak of all living beings after putting in so much effort. Luck, huh? Ningfan suddenly opened his eyes, which shone brightly. He swallowed the heavenly luck fruit in one gulp and sat cross-legged on the ground, rapidly refining the medicinal power of the fruit. Gradually, wisps of light of providence rose from his body. Under Ningfan's will, the black light of luck temporarily turned purple in color. As for the purple light of luck, it gradually flew to the sky and condensed into a gigantic purple umbrella. The umbrella of luck. One-colored immortal luck. Just a single heavenly luck fruit had raised Ningfan's luck from mortal luck to immortal luck. A gigantic purple umbrella of luck appeared in the sky above the entire Shaozi star. Countless cultivators raised their heads to look at the sky. Most of them were at a loss. Only those life immortal realm experts and a few void fragmentation realm old monsters knew what this umbrella represented. Someone has condensed the umbrella of luck on my Shaozi star. His luck has broken through to the first colored immortal luck. Who is this person? Among the life immortal realm, there are very few who can condense the umbrella of luck. Only those who have reached the true immortal realm would be able to condense the umbrella of luck one after another. Could it be that there is a true immortal senior, who is living in seclusion on my Shaozi star to cultivate the technique of luck? All of a sudden, all the life immortal realm experts looked at each other in shock. However, none of them dared to inquire about the identity of that true immortal senior. What a joke! Since that person is living in seclusion here, he naturally does not want others to know his identity. Aren't you just looking for trouble by investigating him when you know that he is unwilling? Even though they did not dare to investigate, the three of them still cautiously issued a secret order. From today onwards, the cultivators of Shaozi Star were not allowed to offend those cultivators who looked ordinary. The more ordinary they looked, the more likely they were to be true immortal old monsters. After all, how could a real true immortal show you how powerful he is? The word powerful was not written on his face. On the Shaozi Star, only one person knew who condensed the umbrella of luck. When Ouyangwan, who was bathing in her room, heard the exclamations of the people on Shaozi Star, she immediately draped her wet long hair and wrapped herself in a bath towel. She walked to the window and looked at the incomparably dazzling umbrella of luck in the vast starry sky. The corner of her mouth curved into a warm smile. A furry ball dived into her bosom at the right time and rubbed itself against her bosom. Fortunately, it was a female. Otherwise, Ouyangwan would have sent it flying away. She hated all male animals. Little Ball Ning, look quickly. Isn't that umbrella beautiful? Remember, that's the umbrella of luck that your father condensed. Ouyangwan's eyes were filled with teasing. There was no affection at all. At most, she only had a good impression of him, which was at the level of a friend. What she said was just a joke between friends. If Ningfan knew that Ouyangwan had found him a little furry daughter, he would probably be speechless. A year had passed in the outside world. The commotion caused by the umbrella of luck had already calmed down. In the profound Yin world, Ningfan exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. He slowly stood up and shook off the dust on his body. With a thought in his mind, his luck was still hidden in black. He spread his palm, and with another thought in his mind, an imprint of a purple umbrella slowly appeared on his left palm. Ning Fan had never obtained the cultivation method of luck. Thus, he naturally did not know that when mortal luck is cultivated to the extreme, it would turn into an umbrella and turn into immortal luck. However, he was very sure that his current luck had already transcended from mortal luck and reached the level of immortal luck. Immortal luck, huh? Not bad. The auction is about to begin, right? Ning Fan's body flashed and he left the profound Yin world. He summoned his maidservant and casually asked for some information. According to the maidservant, there were still 7 days before the auction would begin. According to the maidservant, there was a true immortal realm old monster hiding in the Shaozi Star now. He was cultivating the technique of luck and condensing the umbrella of luck there. According to the maidservant, about 1 year ago, the cultivators of the Seven Fiends sect were ambushed by an expert in the Shaozi Star region. Other than the sect master of the Seven Fiends sect who managed to escape with severe injuries, all the other experts were killed. It was said that the expert who ambushed the Seven Fiends sect was riding a blood-red bird. The first piece of information was useful to Ning Fan. Ning Fan completely ignored the second piece of information. After all, he was that mysterious true immortal. As for the third piece of information, Ning Fan was almost certain that the person who ambushed the Seven Fiends sect was Xue Kongzi, who said that he would return the favor a year ago. From the looks of it, that Xue Kongzi was really a forthright person. He actually helped me solve the problem of the Seven Fiends sect. If I have the chance in the future, I will return the favor to him. 7 days later, the auction would begin. Ning Fan's body flashed, and he flew towards the Golden Palace in the sky. Before he entered the auction palace, the cultivators guarding the entrance of the palace had already cupped their fists towards Ning Fan respectfully. "Senior, are you old ancestor Qianqiu?" "Yes. I see. Senior Qianqiu can head to the VIP seats on the 3rd floor of the auction palace." The 3rd floor? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. Only those with a background of at least life immortal realm could go to the VIP seats on the 3rd floor. With Ning Fan's cultivation base and background, he could only go to the 2nd floor at most. "Yes. The 3 old ancestors have instructed us not to neglect Senior Qianqiu, since you are a distinguished guest," the guard said respectfully. "Is that so?" Ning Fan did not say much. Under the guidance of a few maids, he entered the auction palace and went straight to the VIP seats on the 3rd floor. Inwardly, he was wondering if the 3 life immortals of the Shaozi Star were so friendly to him because of the 19 beast vaults, or because of the medicine sect. While he was pondering, a young man in green robes in front of him gently waved at him with a bright smile. That young man was sitting alone on a long chair with a small fur ball in his arms. "Taoist priest, please sit here." Ouyang Wan was sitting on a long chair which could seat 2 to 3 people. However, if she was unwilling, who would dare to sit with her? Sure enough, the life immortals of the Shaozi Star would only give me special treatment because of the medicine sect. If I also have the cultivation base of a life immortal realm. Ning Fan sighed softly. He did not reject Ouyang Wan's invitation. He walked towards her and sat beside her. All of a sudden, a cold gaze came from one of the seats at the side. Ning Fan frowned slightly and looked towards that seat. He saw a young man in black robes whose hair was tied up with a purple jade bun. The young man was looking at him with an unfriendly and threatening expression. "You better stay away from her." The young man in black robes transmitted his voice to him. "Her." Ning Fan looked at Ouyang Wan who was beside him, and thought to himself, could that young man in black robes be Ouyang Wan's pursuer? Behind the young man in black robes stood 4 mid-human profound realm experts. Although this lineup made Ning Fan wary, it was not enough to make him fearful. Ignoring that person, Ning Fan took the spiritual tea on the table and filled a cup for himself. Then he began to drink it. After being ignored by Ning Fan, the gloomy expression between the brows of the young man in black robes disappeared. Then he gave an indifferent order to a life immortal realm expert behind him. "Find out who that person is. His chi is restrained. My chi is useless against him. He is not an ordinary person." "Understood." That life immortal realm expert knelt down towards his young master. Then, his figure suddenly faded and disappeared from the spot. Are you angry? Young Wan smiled apologetically. You want to use me as a cover to make that person retreat, huh? Miss Ouyang, you're really good at scheming. Ning Fan's expression was still indifferent. I didn't scheme against you. Who the hell knew that he followed me here? Uncle Wei has gone missing. I was worried about him and wanted to wait for you to come and discuss it with you. I was so engrossed in this matter that I didn't notice that they had also come. Young Wan transmitted her voice to Ning Fan. Gone missing. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. No wonder he did not see that life immortal Wei today. It turned out that he had actually gone missing. However, how could a dignified mid-human profound realm life immortal realm expert go missing for no reason? That life immortal Wei was Ouyang Nuan's guard. It was impossible for him to leave on his own. In other words, someone had either killed or captured him. Do you have his life plate? Yes. His life plate is still intact. Ouyang Nuan said worriedly. Capture him alive. Is there any way to find out his approximate location? My medicine sect has a secret technique that allows us to sense Uncle Wei's location with his life plate. He isn't on the Shaozi Star, but he is still in the Shaozi Star region. This is all I can sense. Ning Fan remained silent. That life immortal Wei was most likely captured by someone else. Unless the other party was a true immortal realm expert, only then would they be able to capture him in the Shaozi Star without anyone noticing. If the other party was a life immortal realm expert, he would not be able to hide from the life immortal realm senses. Then, he would have to make that life immortal Wei leave the Shaozi Star willingly before capturing him alive. Who is the other party? What is their objective? Ning Fan was not a person who liked to cause trouble. However, when he saw Ouyang Nuan's worried expression, he could not help but sigh. He owed her his life. No matter how troublesome this matter is, he could not avoid it alone. Why did you come to me for a discussion? Ning Fan asked with a frown. I trust you. I think you will definitely help me. Ouyang Nuan smiled. Who are those people? They are from the Qiu clan. They are the allies of the medicine sect. When she mentioned the Qiu clan, Ouyang Nuan unconsciously frowned. Qiu clan? Ning Fan was puzzled. You don't know about the Qiu clan? The Qiu clan is a large clan in Eastern Heaven. There are 3 true immortals in the clan. How could you not know about it? Ouyang Nuan expressed her surprise. Any cultivator of Eastern Heaven who has cultivated to Ning Fan's level would definitely know about the Qiu clan. Are they suspicious? Ning Fan's eyes seemed to have understood something. He glanced at the seat beside him and saw the warm smile of the black-robed young man. This smile was completely different from the previous cold smile. Maybe. Maybe not. I'm not sure. I want all the information about the life immortal Wei and the specific time of his disappearance. All right. Ouyang Nuan thought for a while and took out a jade slip from her storage pouch, passing it to Ning Fan. Ning Fan's spirit sense went into the jade slip and began to read it carefully. Wei Qi, the 7th slave of the sect master of the medicine sect. He is one of the 19 medicine guards of the sect. All the medicine guards of the sect have the surname Wei and follow the sect master's surname. The sect master's name is Wei Wuxia. He took Wei Qi as his slave on a certain day in a certain star region. He went missing 3 months ago. After reading each piece of information, Ning Fan fell into silence. Wei Wuxia. Wei Wuxia. The sect master of the medicine sect is actually called Wei Wuxia. The sect master of the medicine sect. This identity is similar to the old devil in terms of cultivation base. His strength might not be any weaker than the old devil. If he really owes the old devil money on purpose, the old devil might not be able to get it. Ning Fan took out a yellowing promissory note speechlessly. After thinking for a while, he placed it in front of Ouyang Nuan. Miss Ouyang, do you find the handwriting of this promissory note familiar? Yes. This is my master's handwriting. A promissory note. This is. When she saw the content of the promissory note, Ouyang Nuan's pretty face instantly turned red. What's wrong? Are you Han Yuanji's disciple? Yes. Ning Fan thought for a while, and felt that there was no need to hide his identity. Since the old devil asked him to find Wei Wuxi to collect the debt, he was not afraid of exposing his identity. In other words, Wei Wuxi was not an enemy. Can I help my master to return the money to you? I will return you 2 billion. No 10 billion Dao crystals. Ouyang Wan's tone sounded a little pleading. Chapter 707. Ningfan calmly looked at Ouyang Nuanyuan. Before, Ouyang Nuanyuan only saw Ningfan as a friend, but at this moment, when Ningfan looked at her, her eyes became a bit flustered. This IOU will make things difficult for you? How could Ningfan not see the complicated changes in Ouyang Nuanyuan's expression? Shame, pleading, annoyance, helplessness with Ningfan's wisdom. He could naturally guess that this IOU was not as simple as it looked on the surface. Ouyang Nuanyuan did not answer, and only nodded with a blushing face. I will give you 10 billion Dao crystals. Give me the IOU, okay? She was actually begging with soft words. Ningfan did not speak, but he was sure of one thing. This IOU truly made things difficult for Ouyang Nuanyuan. After knowing that the person who owed him money was the sect master of the medicine school, Ningfan faintly felt that the old monster gave him this IOU with a deep meaning. Perhaps there was something Ningfan did not know behind this IOU. Of course, the old monster's original intention was to help Ningfan find a backer in the eastern sky. Perhaps he wanted to tie Ningfan and the medicine school together, so that Ningfan would have a safe journey. Ningfan understood the old monster's concern. As for this debt, Ningfan was not prepared to help the old monster collect it. Ningfan casually tore the IOU into countless pieces. With a wave of his hand, the fluttering pieces of paper fell to the ground and were burned by the black demonic flame, turning into ashes. When the wind blew, they turned into dust and disappeared without a trace. Why did you destroy the IOU? Ouyang Nuanyuan was startled. She didn't understand why Ningfan destroyed the IOU. It is an eyesore. Ningfan was still expressionlessly tasting the spirit tea. He was not shameless enough to use a IOU to make things difficult for his benefactor. So what if it was 1 billion Dao crystals? So what if it was 10 billion Dao crystals? It could not change his principles. Thank you. Ouyang Nuanyuan quickly regained her composure and smiled warmly as usual. Just a small matter. Your hairy ball is already a harmonious spirit? It has only been a year, but its cultivation has grown quite fast. Ningfan touched Hairy Ball in Ouyang Nuanyuan's bosom. Hairy Ball was originally a true blood spirit, so it was born with a proud character, and never let anyone other than Ouyang Nuanyuan touch it. However, Ningfan was a demon ancestor, so Hairy Ball instinctively feared Ningfan. Not only did it not resist, but it also revealed an obedient expression. Call me daddy, Ouyang Nuan ordered with a smile. Awo. Is Furball calling for daddy? Ningfan looked at Ouyang Nuan speechlessly. He retracted his hand, shook his head and closed his eyes to rest. Ouyang Nuan's mood suddenly improved when she saw Ningfan being humiliated. She happily teased Furball. The gloom brought about by Wei Qi's disappearance had dissipated a lot. Time ticked by, and gradually, the third floor of the auction palace was filled with people. On the auction stage below, the sage-like luck master coughed lightly. In an instant, the entire place fell silent. The Shaozi Planet's auction is held once every 10 years. Many of you here are regular customers of the auction, but there are also many who are attending it for the first time. Therefore, I still have to explain the rules. You're not allowed to hurt others during the auction. On the Shaozi Planet, killing and robbing was forbidden. All auction items go to the highest bidder. If any fellow Taoist doesn't have enough Dao crystals on him, he can use other items to offset the price. If you win something but don't have the money to pay, don't blame this old man for being ruthless. Master Luck's cold eyes swept across the entire place. Many void fragmentation realm old monsters' eyes trembled, not daring to look him in the eye. Alright, these are the rules. Next, the auction will begin. As soon as Master Luck finished speaking, 2 rogue immortal ladies carried a treasure onto the stage. It was a dragon pearl, the dragon pearl of a life immortal realm demonic dragon. Ningfan's eyes turned cold. As expected of a heaven-grade trading city, It was impossible for an auction of such a high level to be auctioned off for ordinary items. This is the dragon pearl of a mid-human profound realm demonic dragon. If a void fragmentation realm fellow refines it, it can increase your magic power by 100,000 Dao crystals. The starting price is 1 million Dao crystals. As soon as the price was announced, many void fragmentation realm old monsters sucked in a cold breath. To some void fragmentation realm experts, 1 million Dao crystals was a huge sum of money. However, immediately after that, the bidding voices rose one after another. 1. 5 million. 2 million. 2 million. 3 million. 5 million. 10 million. The one who made the bid was not a void fragmentation realm expert, but a life immortal realm old man on the third floor. Countless void fragmentation realm old monsters cursed silently. You're a dignified life immortal realm senior. Why are you fighting with a junior for 100,000 life periods of magic power? Sensing everyone's confusion, the life immortal elder smiled and said, I once found an ancient pill recipe. This life immortal dragon pearl is one of the main ingredients. Fine. Senior life immortal was obviously determined to get the dragon pearl. So who would dare to fight with him? Ning Fan was also very interested in that dragon pearl. If 10 million Dao crystals could increase his magic power by 100,000 yuan, he would only need a few 100 million Dao crystals to cultivate to the peak of the nine-breaking realm. Currently, he could only increase his magic power by 10,000 yuan by refining 2 million Dao crystals. In terms of price-performance ratio, the Dragon Balls were naturally higher. However, since a life immortal realm expert was participating in the auction, Ning Fan did not want to compete with them. His wealth was not as strong as that of the life immortal. In the end, the Dragon Ball would still belong to the life immortal. He just raised the price and created an enemy for no reason. Furball's father, do you want the dragon pearl? Ouyang Nuan asked with a smile. Ning Fan nearly choked on a mouthful of spiritual tea. Furball's father? He had a new nickname. Not really. Before Ning Fan could finish his words, Ouyang Nuan had already bid softly. 11 million. As soon as they heard someone challenging a life immortal realm expert, everyone turned to look at Ouyang Nuan. Even that life immortal realm expert looked at her angrily. However, when they saw that the person who bid was Ouyang Nuan, all of them shut their mouths. Even that elderly life immortal realm expert revealed an awkward expression and smiled apologetically at Ouyang Nuan. Since little friend needs this item, I will reluctantly part with it. Thank you. Ouyang Nuan stood up and cupped her fists at the elderly life immortal realm expert, looking rather valiant. That elderly life immortal realm expert immediately smiled like a chrysanthemum flower, and kept saying, You're welcome. You're welcome. How would he dare to compete with the disciple of the medicine sect master? Today, he received Ouyang Nuan's thanks after giving up a dragon pearl. It made him feel that it was a very wise decision to give up the dragon pearl. Ouyang Nuan lightly leaped down from the third floor. Like a fluttering butterfly, she nimbly landed on the jade platform below. After paying the money and keeping the dragon pearl, Ouyang Nuan returned to Ning Fan's side and gave it to him with a sweet smile. This is for you. This? If you treat me as a friend, then don't treat me like an outsider. You weren't so hesitant when you tore up the promissory note. Why didn't you keep the dragon pearl for yourself? With your wealth, it should be easy for you to purchase heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures to break through your cultivation realm, right? Ning Fan asked. My body's condition is very complicated. It's not that easy to improve my cultivation realm. Ouyang Nuan smiled faintly and did not say anything else. Ning Fan sighed and kept the jade box that contained the dragon pearl into his storage pouch. All of a sudden, he felt a cold and sharp gaze piercing towards him. He turned his head and saw the black-robed young man from Cho clan looking at him with a cold smile. In his hand, there was a jade slip containing information. The life immortal realm expert who left earlier had already returned after collecting the information. Qianqiuzi, right? My name is Cho Lu. I hope you will remember this name for the rest of your life. After the black-robed young man transmitted his voice, he crushed the jade slip. His early human profound cultivation realm flashed and disappeared. Then he stood up and left with a flick of his sleeve. However, before he left, he said to Ouyang with a meaningful tone, "You will regret this." Early human profound. Ouyang was slightly surprised. Ning Fan was also slightly surprised. However, when he saw that this person's bone age was 70,000 years old, he revealed a strange expression. It turned out to be an old monster who was 70,000 years old. I thought he was another peerless young man. Judging from Ouyang astonishment, this person had just broken through to the life immortal realm not long ago. Did he spend 70,000 years to become an immortal? I seem to have implicated you. That fellow is very vengeful. Ouyang bit her lips and said, "You only realized now that you have implicated me?" Ning Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. Could it be that this woman is really slow when it comes to the matters between men and women? He is the companion that my master has chosen for me. He is the companion that will enter the extreme Dan sacred region. However, I don't want to go with you. His thoughts aren't pure. I can feel it. By the way, can you accompany me to the extreme Dan sacred region? In another 100 years, the extreme Dan sacred region will open. That place is the paradise for the pill refinement masters of the Eastern Heaven. Ouyang looked at Ning Fan expectantly. However, Ning Fan smiled and shook his head. After 100 years, I might not even be in the Eastern Heaven immortal world anymore. What if you are still here? Ouyang smiled warmly. If you are still here, can you accompany me? We'll talk about it later. All right. Tell me when you have made up your mind. If you really want to go, I will definitely ask my master to give you that slot. Ouyang did not want to dwell on this issue. She hugged Harry Ball and continued to watch the auction. The items that were auctioned next were immortal treasures, immortal techniques and various fiend god cultivation methods. At this moment, Ning Fan finally knew that fiend god cultivation methods were divided by stars. The highest was 9 stars. It was just 1 star away. It was said that there was a divine tomb in the Godly Void Pavilion where fiend god cultivation methods would often fly out. Unfortunately, most of the cultivation methods that flew out were either 1 or 2 stars. Seeing that Ning Fan knew nothing about the grades of the fiend god cultivation methods, Ouyang told him everything she knew. The Black Demon Art was a 5 stars devil cultivation method, the Corpse Devil Record was a 4 stars devil cultivation method, and the Nirvana Scripture was a 6 stars devil cultivation method. As for the yin-yang transformation, he had never heard Ouyang mention it before. How many stars is the yin-yang transformation? Ning Fan asked hesitantly. Since so many people disdained the yin-yang transformation, the grade of this cultivation method should not be too high. Half a star. Cough cough. Ning Fan choked on his tea once again. The yin-yang transformation that he had painstakingly cultivated was not even 1 star. Was it really that low? Thinking about it, without the yin-yang locket, the yin-yang transformation was really very weak. Without the yin-yang locket, it would be very difficult for Ning Fan to display so many heaven-defying techniques. He would also not be able to fuse ice and fire, and combine yin and yang into one. He would also not be able to control the profound yin world, and control the steel of sun and moon. However, Ning Fan had the yin-yang locket. This cultivation method was not ordinary. It should be said that it was heaven-defying and terrifying. You don't tell me that you cultivated the yin-yang transformation? Ouyang looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. Ning Fan actually cultivated such a low-grade and wretched devil cultivation method. Yes. Because of some reasons, the first devil cultivation method that I cultivated was the yin-yang transformation. Ning Fan did not deny it and only gave a brief explanation. Oh. Ouyang was a little depressed. She could almost imagine the scene of Ning Fan plucking her cauldron. Ning Fan sighed softly, and did not say anything. The truth was the truth. He did not bother to deny it. The auction was still going on. A day had passed and only 1/3 of the auction had been completed. The next auction item was the emergence pill. Ning Fan valued this pill very much. Previously, Ning Fan did not have enough wealth, and he did not have the confidence to obtain this pill. Now, however, he was extremely confident that he could obtain this pill. I don't need to explain the medicinal effects of the emergence pill. The starting price is 30 million Dao crystals. As soon as Master Yun's voice fell, the bidding voices rose one after another like a tidal wave. 31 million. 32 million. 33 million. The price of the emergence pill soared all the way to 69 million Dao crystals. Those who were competing for this pill were all cultivators of the 8-break realm. They knew that as long as they obtained this pill, they could directly break through to the 9-break realm, and there was a chance for them to break through to the life immortal realm. 100 million Dao crystals. Ning Fan quietly called out the price. He could see that there were 3 life immortal realm cultivators who were hesitating whether they should bid for this pill for their juniors or not. However, after Ning Fan raised the price to 100 million, the 3 life immortal realm cultivators immediately shook their heads inside. They no longer had the intention to bid for this pill. It was not that they could not afford 100 million Dao crystals. It was just that it was not worth it to spend such a huge amount of money for an outsider. With this amount of Dao crystals, they could greatly improve their cultivation bases. When all the Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators saw Ning Fan calling out the price and saw him sitting together with the people of the medicine sect, they neither had the ability nor the courage to continue bidding. Ning Fan got off the jade platform and paid for the pill. Then he returned to the 3rd floor. Ouyingnuan looked like she had a lot on her mind. When she saw Ning Fan returning after winning the bid for the emergence pill, she bit her lips and said to him, "The yin-yang transformation is really not a good cultivation method. Why don't you come to the medicine sect? I will ask my master to impart you a 5-star cultivation method to concoct the emergence pill for you. What do you think?" Ning Fan was suddenly stunned. This tone of hers sounded so familiar. Didn't Bei Yao say the same thing in the past? She said that she would give him the strongest cultivation method. He suddenly realized that there was a hint of affection in Ouyingnuan's eyes. "I appreciate your kindness. However, you have your own path and I have mine. You don't need to help me with anything. We are friends. As a friend, I just want to help you." "Is my cultivation method really that bad?" Ning Fan asked with a smile. Others will say that you say that I'm shameless?" Ouyingnuan bit her lips, not knowing how to answer him. "Do you think that I'm shameless?" Ning Fan asked with a smile. "No. Your heart is very kind and gentle. Even though it's barren, it's full of sunshine. I felt it from the first time I met you. It's enough that you know. What others say has nothing to do with me." Ning Fan quietly drank the spiritual tea with a calm expression. Ouyingnuan seemed to have figured something out. She heaved a long sigh of relief and began to play with the little fur ball again. Then she apologized to Ning Fan. "You must have your reasons." Ning Fan did not answer her. He just looked at the auction hall below. Dazzling items were being auctioned one after another. Eventually, even the Life Immortal Dao fruit was bought by someone. The person who bought the Life Immortal Dao fruit was an old man at the Life Immortal realm who had scars all over his body. The final price was 2 billion Dao crystals. His cultivation base was at the peak of the human profound realm. The reason why he bought the Dao fruit was to advance to the ghost profound realm. Naturally, he would not allow anyone to snatch it from him. This time, even Ouyingnuan did not try to snatch the Life Immortal Dao fruit, even though she knew that Ning Fan really wanted it. That old monster is a member of the pill sect. He won't care about the reputation of the medicine sect. If we offend him, both you and I will die. Ouyingnuan transmitted her voice to him. Pill sect, huh? Ning Fan's eyes narrowed slightly. Indeed, he and the pill sect were enemies on a narrow road. Unfortunately, Ning Fan did not have the strength to make this person stay. Otherwise, he would not mind letting a Life Immortal Realm expert of the pill sect die. On the 3rd day, Master Luck finally began to auction the star disk of a high-grade star field. Those who would buy a high-grade star disk were mostly Life Immortal Realm experts. The star disk of the ancient star region was bought by Ning Fan at the price of 80 million Dao crystals. It was much less than the expected price. "Are you going to the ancient star region?" Ouyingnuan asked with concern. I'm going. That place is very dangerous. I have no choice but to go." Ning Fan smiled faintly. It was just 4 words, but they expressed his determination. Ouyang was slightly stunned. Then she giggled and stroked the little furball in her arms. She then said in a casual tone, "Furball's father, if you go to the ancient star region, you must be careful. If you really encounter any difficulties, you can go to the 100 Medicines sect in the Hidden Sea planet and look for an old man who sweeps the floor. His name is Qian Kaiyan. He is an 8th Revolution pill refinement master." Qian Kaiyan. Ning Fan silently remembered this name. He always felt that this name was a little awkward. Whenever he thought of this name, he would imagine a wretched old man who was greedy for money. Ning Fan suddenly remembered that he still had 3 semi-finished emergence pills with him. It seemed like he could ask Qian Kaiyan to concoct them into finished products. However, just thinking about it made him feel that he would be extorted of a lot of money if he asked this person to help him. "Take this hairpin. If he doesn't help you, just show it to him, and he will help you." Ouyang took out a warm jade hairpin and gave it to Ning Fan. Her expression was very calm. However, Ning Fan still noticed that the tips of her ears turned slightly red. This warm jade hairpin was most likely the girl's personal item. "Thank you. What are you thanking me for? You promised to help me find Uncle Wei, and I will help you as well. We don't owe each other anything. Don't you think so, Furball's father?" Ouyang gently patted Furball's back. Furball immediately looked at Ning Fan and howled, calling him father. Ning Fan felt helpless. He shifted his gaze away and went to the auction house. He had already gotten what he needed. In fact, he no longer had much interest in the auction. However, he was still very curious about the final item. He really wanted to know what the final item would be. On the 4th day, the auction came to an end. The final item finally appeared. It was a palm-sized formation mark. It lay quietly in the jade box and was sealed by layers of formation light. This item is a corner of the formation mark that a fellow Taoist found in the divine tomb. The formation mark of an immortal emperor. A corner of the formation mark can kill all cultivators below the true immortal realm. However, it can only be used once. The starting price is 10 billion Tao crystals. A few life immortal realm experts who were hiding their identities suddenly breathed rapidly. They came here just for a corner of the formation mark of an immortal emperor. They were buying this formation pattern for the life immortal clan behind them. As long as they had this formation pattern, even a true immortal would fear them. The moment he saw this formation rune, the yin-yang locket in his body suddenly throbbed. His gaze shook. There was an unusually familiar aura in this corner of the formation pattern. The aura of the ancient chaos heavenly emperor. However, the divine ability contained in this corner of the formation pattern did not only contain the power of the yin-yang transformation, but also the power of another cultivation technique. Ancient Chaos Great Emperor was proficient in 2 cultivation techniques. One was the yin-yang transformation, and the other was the chaos loop art. The former was called the yin-yang inheritance. Without the yin-yang locket, the yin-yang transformation was worthless. The latter was called the chaotic truth inheritance by the later generations, and it was the strongest offensive technique of the ancient chaos heavenly emperor. It was the heavenly Tao that was in chaos. The most shocking battle of ancient chaos was when stars appeared in his left eye, right eye and glabella at the same time. The 27 stars turned into moons, and he killed 27 immortal sovereigns with a single finger. That magical finger was the offensive technique of the chaotic loop technique. Ning Fan took a light breath. There's no mistaking it. In this corner of the formation, there's the power of yin and yang, as well as the power of chaotic rings. There's no doubt that this was a corner of the formation pattern that ancient chaos heavenly emperor personally laid down. This formation pattern was found in the divine tomb. It's said that there are countless inheritances of ancient fiend gods and devils in the divine tomb. I wonder if there's any chaotic truth inheritance in the divine tomb. As the successor of ancient chaos, it'll be a pity if I don't learn the chaotic loop art. Speaking of which, this corner of the formation pattern is also very useful to me. If I have this corner of the formation pattern, I'll naturally have one more life-saving technique. Just as Ning Fan was thinking about it, the yin-yang locket suddenly emitted a faint light as if it had gained sentience. The corner of the immortal emperor's formation pattern that was tightly sealed suddenly flashed and vanished without a trace. That formation pattern appeared in the profound Een world. 15 billion. 16 billion. 17 billion. A few mysterious life immortal realm experts were bidding desperately. All of a sudden, all of them were dumbfounded and stopped bidding. Master Yin was trying to raise the price a little more. According to his estimation, this corner of the formation could be sold for at least 20 billion. Unexpectedly, when the price was raised to 17 billion, there was no one else bidding anymore. Moreover, everyone's eyes looked as if they had seen something that they couldn't understand. Master Yun followed the gaze of the crowd, turned around and looked at the empty jade box that was sealed by layers of formation light behind him. In an instant he was also dumbfounded. Who is it? Who stole that corner of the formation? Who is it? Master Yun was shocked and angry, but more than that he was shocked. The person who could take away a corner of the formation pattern in front of everyone must have a cultivation base that far surpassed all the life immortal realm experts present. It couldn't be a true immortal of the true crossing realm, or the void abandoning realm. Even a true immortal of the thought fragmentation realm wouldn't be able to do this. Master Yun, who was standing beside the formation, didn't even notice that the formation pattern had disappeared without a trace. Immortal Venerable. It's at least an immortal venerable. There must be a senior immortal venerable who is interested in this formation pattern. So, no one knew which void fragmentation old monster said, but the whole place fell into dead silence. Terrifying. Truly terrifying. First, there was a true immortal who was hiding in the Shaozi star to cultivate the technique of luck. Then there was another immortal venerable who was hiding in the auction house, and quietly took away a corner of the formation pattern of the immortal emperor. Immortal venerable. Immortal venerable. An existence of that level could cover the entire Shaozi star with a single finger. Who would dare to say anything about what he was going to take away from this place? Master Yun complained incessantly. This formation pattern was actually left here by a ghost profound realm life immortal for the auction. Now that the mysterious immortal venerable had taken away the formation pattern, he naturally didn't dare to pursue the responsibility of an immortal venerable. However, since the formation pattern was lost, he had to compensate that ghost profound realm life immortal crystals. At the very least, he had to compensate that person with 10 billion Dao crystals. Sigh. How terrifying. An immortal venerable actually took away the formation pattern of a great sovereign. Ouyang Nuan revealed a nervous expression. She could not help but tighten her arms that were holding the little fur ball. That's right. How terrifying. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. If the life immortals here knew that he was the one who took away the formation pattern, the consequences would be truly terrifying. He wondered if a group of life immortals would gang up on him and beat him to death. Happy double 7th festival. Chapter 708. Ning Fan didn't expect that a corner of the ancient chaos Great Emperor's formation runes would be stolen by the Yin Yang locket. However, there was no reason for him to reject a formation mark that he had picked up for free. Besides, it was impossible for Ning Fan to return the formation mark with both hands. This was the ancient chaos Great Emperor's formation runes, and he was the successor of the ancient chaos Great Emperor. The auction has ended. Master Yin let out a long sigh and announced weakly. The old monsters left in a hurry, afraid that the celestial sovereign was still hiding here, and something unexpected would happen. It was better to leave as soon as possible. Celestial sovereigns were also known as 10,000 ancient celestial sovereigns. They were people who had transcended the ages and were above countless true immortals. No true immortal could defeat an immortal venerable, let alone a life immortal. The difference between a life immortal and an immortal venerable was like the difference between a vein opening and a void fragmentation. Ning Fan and Ouyang Nuan also stood up at the same time, preparing to leave. Ning Fan was not afraid of that non-existent immortal venerate 10,000 ancient. Now that the auction had ended, it was time for him to deal with another matter. Do you know which area of the Shaozi Star region Senior Wei Qi is currently at? Ning Fan asked Ouyang Nuan through telepathy. It's probably in this area. Young-won took out Weiqi's life token and made some deductions. Then, she took out the astrolabe of the Shaozi galaxy and made some deductions on it. The location was roughly in the northern region of Shaozi star region. The Shaozi North region is a vast sea of stars. How are we going to find a person? Damn it, why did someone capture Uncle Wei? Perhaps, that person came for you. Ning Fan said thoughtfully. What do you mean? Yang-won was confused. It's nothing, I just have some guesses. Don't worry, I'm proficient in a secret technique, and I'm best at finding people in a wide area. The Shaozi North region is indeed vast. With my cultivation level, I'll be able to find Senior Weiqi's whereabouts after casting the mystic skill more than 10 times. The secret technique that Ning Fan mentioned was naturally the Rain Ancestors' Heavenly Peering Rain technique. As Ning Fan's spirit sense and magic power improved, the search range of his Peering Heaven Rain technique also increased continuously. The two of them left the Shaozi planet, and Yang-won kept the little fur ball into the spirit beast bag. After all, its cultivation was too low, and it could not withstand the power of the void. Ning Fan rode the ancient sword and held the star compass in his hand, carrying Yang-won all the way to the northern region. Every day he traveled, he would display the Heavenly Peering Rain technique. The rain spell could cover half of a low-level planet region with its immortal will. Every time he used the rain spell, rain would fall from the void between several low-ranked cultivation planets. Such a powerful technique. Yang-won's beautiful eyes were filled with splendor. Even a life immortal wouldn't be able to spread their spirit sense this far. Only a true immortal of the crossing truth realm could extend his divine sense to half the distance of a low-grade starfield. This technique consumed a lot of Ning Fan's magical power. Every time he used the rain technique, he would need a lot of time to recover his magical power. On the third day, Ning Fan and Yang-won settled down on an abandoned planet to rest. Just as he recovered a little of his magic power, several sharp killing intents rushed towards this abandoned planet. They were 3 rogue immortals. Judging from their appearances, Ning Fan remembered that they were the 3 devil lords with a bounty of 6 million, 9 million and 5 million respectively. Ning Fan did not act immediately. He wanted to know if these people were coming for him or Yang-won. Yang-won was slightly nervous. Although she was an expert in alchemy, due to her body condition, she was not good at fighting. Her cultivation was also weak. Don't be afraid. Ning Fan smiled faintly. That smile had a strange power that made Yang-won feel relieved. I'm not afraid. The 3 rogue immortals looked at Ning Fan and exclaimed in surprise. Old Ancestor Qianqiu. This doesn't match the information we have. Yang-won isn't alone. Retreat. With just this sentence, Ning Fan was already convinced that the 3 of them were coming for Yang-won. Moreover, they had a plan in mind. Ning Fan's appearance had disrupted their plan. As expected, Ning Fan seemed to have confirmed something. If that's the case, I should be able to obtain a lot of information after killing the 3 of them and searching their souls and memories. He took a step forward and turned into black robes. After extracting and devouring their souls, Ning Fan's body suddenly turned into black shadows that spread out and swept towards the 3 rogue immortals. Black Tempest soul-splitting technique. At the moment the technique was displayed, the expressions of the 3 rogue immortals changed drastically. Realizing that they had nowhere to run, their eyes flashed with extreme ruthlessness. Each of them exploded their primordial spirit without any hesitation. Rumble! 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 The power of the self-detonation of 3 rogue immortals was so powerful that even an ordinary life immortal realm expert would have to fend it off in a flurry. The aftermath of the self-detonation went straight for Yang-won. They actually wanted to kill her even if they had to risk their lives. Be careful. Ning Fan's expression changed. The black shadows scattered and condensed, appearing in front of Yang-won in the blink of an eye. However, he could not get close to her in time. At this distance, he could not keep Yang-won inside the Yuan Yao world to avoid the magic technique. This distance could not help Yang-won avoid the aftermath of the self-detonation of the 3 rogue immortals. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. Black starlight flashed around his body. He opened his mouth and swallowed the self-detonation of the 3 rogue immortals into his stomach. Bang! 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 The sound of the explosion came from Ningfan's stomach. He felt a sharp pain in his chest and took a step back. He actually destroyed the cultivation planet that was on the verge of collapsing. His injuries were not light. Ningfan. All of a sudden, Ouyang Nuan's face turned pale. She held on to Ningfan, who was falling from the void. When she touched Ningfan's ice-cold hand, her heart turned cold. Ouyang Nuan's 5-colored medicine soul entered Ningfan's body. When she sensed the severe injuries in his body, she felt extremely guilty. If it wasn't because he wanted to save her, Ningfan had a way to withstand the self-detonation of the 3 rogue immortals without swallowing the self-detonation wave. How could his injuries be light after swallowing the self-detonation wave into his body? I'm fine. It's just that my magic power has yet to recover in the first place. That's why I look a little weak. Ningfan gritted his teeth slightly and summoned the ancient golden sword, making it hover in the void. The 2 of them landed on the ancient sword. They finally had a place to stand. Ningfan sat cross-legged on the ancient sword. He quickly consumed a pill and used the starlight to heal his injuries. His injuries were indeed a little heavy. However, it was far from the injuries he suffered when he forcefully broke through the realm-breaking light sea. In at most 2 hours, Ningfan's injuries would be completely healed. This was the power of 8,800 black stars. If he condenses 10,000 black stars, he would not be afraid even when facing an early profound mortal realm life immortal realm expert. He would be unscathed in 100 battles. When Ouyang Nuan saw that Ningfan's injuries were recovering rapidly, she felt slightly relieved. However, she was still filled with guilt. She did not say thank you because she understood that a shallow word of gratitude could not express anything at all. They want to kill you. Why do you think they want to kill you? And why do they want to capture Wei Qi? 2 hours later, Ningfan's injuries were fully healed. His magic power had returned to its peak. I don't know. Ouyang Nuan shook her head helplessly. Even though the medicine sect was powerful, it definitely had a lot of enemies. She could not think of anyone who wanted to kill her. However, with her sharp mind, she instantly understood the deeper meaning of Ningfan's words. Killing with a borrowed knife. Ouyang Nuan suddenly exclaimed. The person who could capture Senior Wei Qi naturally has the ability to kill you. However, he doesn't dare to do so. Your body contains the 9 revolutions death-chasing pill, which was concocted by your master. If that person directly kills you, your master will certainly notice it. Therefore, he captured Wei Qi and lured you out of Shaozastar. Then he asked unrelated people to kill you. If I'm not mistaken, these assassins don't know who their employer is at all. It's useless even if they search their memories. After you die, Wei Qi will die as well. Then no one will know who killed you. Ningfan analyzed carefully. Ouyang Nuan nodded her head. She completely agreed with Ningfan's analysis. Who is it that wants to kill me? How many true immortals are there in the medicine sect? Ningfan did not answer her question, but asked another question instead. There's only my master. Wait, you mean this person is a member of my medicine sect? Otherwise, who else would be able to lure Wei Qi out of Shaozastar willingly and capture him? If this person is a member of the medicine sect, everything will make sense. He's an acquaintance. Therefore, he only needs to send a voice transmission flying sword to lure Wei Qi out. If he's an acquaintance, as long as he has a life immortal realm cultivation base, he can trick Wei Qi and capture him even if his cultivation base is lower than Wei Qi's. Of course, there's also the possibility that this person's cultivation base is extremely high and has reached the ghost profound realm. If he's a member of the medicine sect, he's naturally afraid that your master will know his identity. Impossible. All the uncles in the medicine sect are very kind to me. I can sense it. It's hard to predict a person's heart. Your medicine soul is special, but it's not omnipotent. Your medicine soul can sense the evil in people's hearts. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have the ability to hide his true self. Forget it. This is just my speculation. Perhaps he's not a member of the medicine sect at all. You don't have to take it seriously. I've rested enough. Let's continue our search for Senior Wei Qi. However, from now on you must be extremely careful. If anything happens, I will immediately keep you in my small Kiliacosm Cosmos treasure. You must be mentally prepared. I got it. Young Wan was feeling a little down. She naturally understood the principle that it was hard to predict a person's heart. However, she had never doubted her uncles. She had always treated the seniors of the medicine sect as her uncles. If she was really betrayed by her uncles, it would be no different from being betrayed by her family. The heartache could not be soothed by saying that it was hard to predict a person's heart. The 4th day, the 5th day, the 6th day, almost every day, Ning Fan and Young Wan would be chased by a group of assassins. This time, Ning Fan had learned his lesson. Every time he encountered an enemy, he would immediately keep Young Wan in the Yuan Yao world. Then he would carry out a one-sided slaughter on those assassins. These assassins were basically devils with bounties. After Ning Fan killed them all along the way, he had collected the heads of 17 devils with bounties. The total bounty had reached 140 million Dao crystals. All of the remaining assassins died by self-detonation. Ning Fan also searched the memories of some of them. As expected, there was no useful information. 15 days later, Ning Fan used the heaven-peering rain technique again. Rain fell on Tiantai Star. His eyes suddenly turned cold. He had found Wei Qi's whereabouts on Tiantai Star. Even though he had found him, he could not go there immediately. He needed to recover his magic power first. As expected, there were no true immortals among the enemies. It was good news. However, there were 2 early human profound realm life immortals. It would not be easy to save them. Ning Fan told Young Wan the appearance of the 2 life immortals. After seeing them, Young Wan heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, these 2 people were not from the medicine sect. On the contrary, they were from the pill sect. Harry Ball's father, you guessed it wrong. The enemies are from the pill sect. Young Wan's mood turned from gloomy to sunny. Is that so? It couldn't be better. Ning Fan turned his hand and took out a small golden sword. It was a sword light that was condensed from 1200 traces of sword ancestors' sword chi given to him by Emperor Xia. It could severely injure a life immortal with a single strike. Together with the attack from the steel of sun and moon, Ning Fan was confident that he could severely injure the 2 life immortals. However, it would only severely injure them. If he wants to kill them, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. With his current abilities, it would be very difficult for him to break through an immortal-grade defensive technique. If the steel of sun and moon and the small golden sword were to attack a life immortal at the same time, there was a high chance that he could kill one of them. However, the other person was definitely not someone Ning Fan could hurt. Of course, he still had a corner of the Great Sovereign Realm formation mark in his hand. However, this formation mark could kill all immortals below the true immortal realm. It could only be used once. If he uses it to kill 2 early human profound realm life immortals, it would be too wasteful. Tiantai Star, Cloud Cliff Sect. Inside the Cloud Cliff Sect, there was dead silence. The entire sect had been massacred. On Tiantai Star, countless cultivation countries, sects and Xiao clan members were massacred. Their corpses were everywhere. On the peak of Cloud Cliff Mountain, an old man in black robes who was covered in wounds was imprisoned in a stone chamber. That old man was none other than Wei Qi. Currently, he had been planted with layers of restrictive spells. He could neither speak nor use any of his magic power. He could only use his eyes to express his anger. In front of him stood 2 pill sect life immortals. Both of them were wearing green pill robes. One of them was tall while the other was fat. The 2 of them were fiddling with the storage pouch in their hands. One of them nodded his head in satisfaction while the other one's eyes were filled with dissatisfaction. I didn't expect that after massacring an entire low-grade cultivation planet, we would only get this little thing. There really isn't any profit to be gained from a low-grade cultivation planet. The taller life immortal said indignantly. However, after massacring an entire cultivation planet, my soul banner has collected quite a number of high-quality living souls. Its power has increased by quite a lot. The fat life immortal chuckled. His face was full of fats. While the 2 of them were talking, Their eyes suddenly turned cold, and they exchanged glances. The taller life immortal continued to watch over Wei Qi while the fat life immortal flashed. His body turned into a ray of black light and disappeared into the ground beneath his feet. Outside the Cloud Cliff Mountain, a young man in black robes appeared. The two Pill Sect life immortals had naturally heard about this young man in black robes. He was none other than Ning Fan, who had killed countless of their assassins. It was said that Ning Fan was traveling with the eldest miss of the Ouyang family. Since he was here, Ouyang Wan was most likely nearby as well. Looking at Ning Fan's fearless expression, perhaps he already knew that there were two life immortals guarding this place. Is he trying to lure us away from our territory? Are there any other reinforcements who are trying to save Wei Qi? With that thought in mind, the two life immortal realm experts would certainly not attack a void fragmentation realm kid at the same time. One of them would kill Ning Fan while the other would stay behind to prevent the enemy from luring them away from their territory. Ning Fan's eyes were cold as he stared at the Cloud Cliff Mountain. Before he showed himself, he had already unleashed his full combat power. Thus, he naturally did not dare to be careless in the face of a life immortal realm expert. When he sensed that a life immortal realm expert was missing from the stone chamber on the peak of the Cloud Cliff Mountain, Ning Fan's heart was filled with alarm. With his current cultivation base, it would be very difficult for him to detect a sneak attack from a life immortal realm expert. Fortunately, after cultivating the Great Five Elements physique, Ning Fan's perception towards the power of the five elements had become especially sharp. All of a sudden, Ning Fan leaped into the sky and looked down at the ground. The fat life immortal realm expert suddenly emerged from the ground. He raised his hand and clawed at the place where Ning Fan was standing just now. Fortunately, Ning Fan reacted in time and managed to avoid the attack. As soon as the attack missed its target, a large piece of land was immediately torn apart. The entire cultivation planet was shaking violently. This was the power of a life immortal realm expert's casual attack. The word immortal was far beyond the reach of a first-step cultivator. A life immortal realm expert isn't someone I can defeat. Ning Fan frowned. Even though he knew that he was not as strong as the fat life immortal realm expert, he would never back down. He was indebted to Ouyang Wan. He would certainly help her. Young man, you're really fast at escaping. It seems like you're going to be a decent living soul. The fat life immortal realm expert licked his lips and continued. If you hand Ouyang Wan over willingly, I will spare your spiritual consciousness and let you be a happy living soul. However, if you remain stubborn... The fat life immortal realm expert suddenly took out a devil flag which was filled with devil chi. It was a low-grade immortal treasure. As soon as the flag rose into the sky, billions of living souls flew out from it. For a moment, the sky turned dark and the earth turned dark. Yin Qi covered the sky and ghosts wailed and gods howled. As soon as the billions of living souls appeared, they immediately fused with one another. In an instant, they turned into 72 giant ghosts. Each of them had the cultivation base of a rogue immortal. If you remain stubborn, I will certainly make you beg for death. The fat life immortal realm expert sneered. Is that so? Ning Fan took a deep breath and abruptly raised his palm towards the sky. Immediately a 60,000 zhang large fire monument appeared in his hand. He raised his hand and made a series of hand seals. The fire monument immediately rose into the sky and turned into a gigantic mountain made of yin flames. The mountain was only 60,000 zhang tall. However, its weight was as heavy as half a low-grade cultivation planet. As for Ning Fan, 90% of his magic power had been consumed in just a few seconds. Dual Spirit Monument Technique, Yin Flames Mountain. Fall. As soon as he said that, the gigantic mountain made of Yin flames immediately smashed down at a terrifying speed. The Devil Flag Immortal Treasure was directly smashed into pieces by the gigantic mountain made of Yin flames. The 72 rogue Immortal Realm experts were instantly smashed into meat paste by the gigantic mountain made of Yin flames. The originally arrogant Fat Life Immortal Realm expert no longer had the slightest bit of arrogance on his face. As soon as he saw the gigantic mountain made of Yin flames crashing down, his soul almost left his body. Without saying a word, he fled into the ground. He could not imagine that an ant who was just at the 7th break realm could actually display such a terrifying ability. He desperately fled into the cultivation planet of Tiantai Planet, hoping to avoid the attack of the gigantic mountain. Unfortunately, he had overestimated the power of the gigantic mountain. The force of the gigantic mountain heavily smashed onto the cultivation planet. The entire planet immediately trembled and the mountains shook. Then, with a loud rumbling sound, the planet was split into 2 halves. A low-grade cultivation planet was crushed by Ningfan's ability just like that. Fortunately, even though the planet was split apart, it was still temporarily pieced together, and did not split into 2 halves. The Fat Life Immortal Realm expert, who was hiding underground, was directly thrown out of the ground by the tremendous force. As soon as he came out of the ground, he immediately fell to the ground and coughed out blood. His body was almost flattened into a meat paste. However, he was still alive. However, his injuries were extremely severe. Without 1,000 years of recuperation, he would definitely not be able to recover. At this moment, he was extremely weak and his strength had been reduced by 70%. However, he was so angry that he laughed. "Little Qianqiu, how dare you hurt me? If I don't kill you, I swear that I'm not a man." Ningfan, who was also extremely weak, looked at the Fat Life Immortal Realm expert expressionlessly. However, his hand quietly reached into his sleeve. There was a small golden sword there. No more updates. Happy Double 7th Festival, everyone. Chapter 709. Qianqiu, I have to admit that your divine ability is very powerful. However, it is a pity that with your cultivation, using that kind of attack once will almost exhaust all of your magic power. Perhaps you are invincible below the Life Immortal Realm, but if you want to surpass the Immortal Realm and challenge a Life Immortal, you have no chance of winning. Life Burning Pill. Even though the Fat Life Immortal was severely injured, his aura force was still far stronger than Ningfan's. He took out a fiery red pill and swallowed it. Then he walked towards Ningfan step by step. With every step he took, his flesh and blood would burn on their own, disappearing at an astonishing speed while his injuries healed at a rapid pace. After taking 10 steps, the Fat Life Immortal was only 10,000 zhang away from Ningfan. He had already become as thin as a stick. His injuries were mostly healed within 10 steps. Ningfan's eyes darkened slightly. This person was a pill ancestor expert, so he was naturally a pill cultivator. As an alchemist, he naturally had quite a few medicinal pills on him. Using medicinal pills to aid in battle and heal, he was truly a troublesome opponent. They couldn't give him any more time to heal. The Fat Life Immortal Realm expert suddenly raised his head and stared at Ningfan coldly. With a sneer, he took out another ice blue pill and was about to consume it. It was a secret pill that could greatly increase one's strength in a short period of time. Ningfan, of course, would not give the Fat Immortal Life Immortal any more time to consume the pills. He raised his hand and pointed a finger at him. 4 illusory vortexes appeared around the Fat Immortal Life Immortal. Between the 2 whirlpools, beams of light shot out and pierced through the Life Immortal's body. The light beams crossed each other. For a moment, the Fat Life Immortal couldn't move and couldn't put the pill into his mouth. This was one of the ways to cast the whirlpool spell, Whirlpool Intersecting. This technique was unable to harm a cultivator, but it could borrow the power of the heavenly grottos to lock the space around the cultivator, making it impossible for him to move. The moment he locked the Fat Life Immortal's hand, he tapped the ground with the tip of his toes and put his left hand into his sleeve. His eyes were cold as he stared at the Fat Life Immortal. The Fat Life Immortal squinted his eyes as he was frozen by the light pillar. When he saw Ningfan dashing towards him, he sneered. Not a bad technique. It's a pity that you haven't cultivated this technique to its peak. Otherwise, even if you haven't entered the Life Immortal realm, you can easily stop me with this technique. But now don't even think about stopping me. Break. The Fat Life Immortal's energy shook, and the 4 illusory whirlpools immediately shattered. Looking at Ningfan, who was coming towards him, the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal flicked the icy blue pill in his hand and changed his hand seals. This ice blue pill could be consumed, but it could also be used as a hidden weapon. Streams of ice flames flowed out from the pill. In an instant, the pill turned into the shadow of a dark blue ice flame giant. It raised its hand and threw a punch at Ning Fan. Boom! This punch came too quickly. Ning Fan hurriedly turned his body into a black shadow, but he was still severely injured by this attack. His entire body was in excruciating pain, as if it was being torn apart. When the black shadow condensed again, Ning Fan had already passed the ice flame giant and appeared 100 zhang away from the obese life immortal. His face was pale, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. His injuries were severe, but the ruthlessness in his eyes did not diminish. There wasn't a single part of his body that didn't hurt, but it only made his fighting spirit soar to the skies. With a flip of his hand, a small golden sword appeared in his left palm. He raised his hand and threw it at the Fat Life Immortal's Dantian. On the other side, the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal snorted coldly after severely injuring Ning Fan with a single blow. He was quite disdainful of Ning Fan's arrogance. In his opinion, Ning Fan would at most be killed after receiving 7 to 8 more punches from the ice flame giant. He admitted that Ning Fan was definitely an unrivaled expert at the first step of Dao cultivation. Unfortunately, even so, he did not believe that Ning Fan could defeat him. How can an ant at the first step of Dao cultivation defeat an immortal at the second step? The Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal sneered. Just as he was about to perform a hand seal to command the ice flame giant to attack Ning Fan again, all of a sudden, the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal raised his hand and took out a small golden sword when he saw Ning Fan approaching him. The moment he saw the small golden sword, his body began to tremble uncontrollably. His expression changed drastically. From this small golden sword, he felt a sense of crisis of certain death. This time, the power of the small golden sword's attack was even slightly stronger than the previous Flame Mountain. With the current weakened body of the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal, he certainly could not withstand such an attack. Impossible. You're just a 7th step Broken Realm cultivator. Why do you have so many powerful trump cards? I don't believe it. The Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal's expression was ferocious and crazy. He patted his storage pouch and took out a handful of colorful pills. Then he swallowed all of them. At the same time, the small golden sword flashed and turned into 1,200 rays of sword light with terrifying power. They formed a storm of blades that engulfed him. The rays of sword light easily cut his immortal body. Streaks of sword chi easily surged into his body and destroyed his immortal meridians and essence spirit without restraint. The powerful power of the pills was forcefully repairing the broken body of the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal. Both of his eyes were bloodshot. He attacked crazily, crushing the rays of sword light with every raise of his hand. His injuries were getting worse and his chi was getting weaker and weaker. However, the more he fought, the more courageous he became. The sword chi was decreasing continuously. His life force was also decreasing at a faster speed. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Feeling the chi in his body getting weaker and weaker, the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal gritted his teeth in anger. Damn it. I've underestimated Ning Fan too much. A mere 7th step Broken Realm Immortal was actually this strong. His strength was not much weaker than mine. However, an ant will always be an ant. It's not that easy to kill me. Immortal Shattering Technique. Without any hesitation, the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal began to form hand seals with all 10 of his fingers, displaying a forbidden technique. This technique was widely known in the Four Heavens immortal world. It was a technique that countless immortals would only display when they were risking their lives. The Immortal Shattering Technique could suppress all injuries within a short period of time, allowing the user to unleash their full strength at the cost of falling from the immortal realm forever. It was a life-saving technique that many immortals who were in a desperate situation would use. The hand seals of the Immortal Shattering Technique were very complicated. However, with the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal's speed, he had already formed hundreds of hand seals in just a few moments. He had completed half of the hand seals. I can't let him finish forming the hand seals. Ning Fan's body was surrounded by starlight. He dashed into the storm of blades and his body was immediately penetrated by countless rays of sword light. Even though the injuries in his body were getting worse, Ning Fan did not hesitate at all. He raised his palm and his memory power condensed into a small black golden sword. The small sword grew in the wind and immediately turned into a 3 chi long black golden sword. The sword slashed down mercilessly, cutting off one of the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal's arm, and forcefully interrupting his hand seals. Ah! The Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal shrieked in pain, and stared at Ning Fan in disbelief. He did not expect that Ning Fan would rush into the storm of blades without hesitation in order to stop him from using the Immortal Shattering technique. Ning Fan suffered the attacks of the sword light together with him. Ning Fan was unafraid of death. Moreover, he did not expect that Ning Fan had actually cultivated a type of Dao weapon. Even though that Dao weapon had never been refined before, it was too sharp. With just a single strike, it cut off his arm. Ning Fan was a lunatic. A lunatic who was not afraid of death. A lunatic who possessed a great Dao weapon. The Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal hated himself for underestimating Ning Fan. If he had consumed all of his trump cards right from the start, he would certainly be able to kill Ning Fan before Ning Fan could use his trump cards. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Which Life Immortal Realm Immortal would use all of his trump cards against an ant-like junior? Who would have thought that Ning Fan's combat power would be so high even though his cultivation base was low? At this moment, the Fat Life Immortal Realm Immortal was trapped in the storm of sword light. If he does not use the Immortal Shattering technique to suppress his injuries and increase his strength to forcefully break through the sword light, he would certainly die under the endless sword chi of the sword ancestor. Fight with your life. He wanted to fight Ning Fan to the death, but Ning Fan was also fighting him to the death. Now that he had lost an arm, he no longer had the chance to fight for his life. The next moment, the Fat Life Fairy's face twisted. He almost wanted to laugh out loud. If the Immortal Shattering art was blocked, he would definitely die in this storm of swords. He couldn't escape, he had nowhere to run, he would die without a doubt. Since he was going to die anyway, he must drag Ning Fan down with him before he dies. Explode! The Fat Life Immortal smirked. He wanted to detonate his primordial spirit and perish together with Ning Fan under the sky-covering sword light. Not in vain, not in vain. Since Ning Fan was able to cultivate a Dao soldier when he was at the Void Fragmentation Realm, his innate potential was definitely enough to shock the world. Being able to drag Ning Fan down with me before I die is really worth it. Let's die together. Boom. An unimaginable explosion spread across the entire planet. The entire planet was under the attack of the Fat Life Celestial's self-destruction storm. Mountains and rivers were destroyed as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Spirit chi was crazily flowing away, and one cultivation country after another was razed to the ground. This was the power of a Life Immortal's self-destruction. After this battle, Tiantai planet would completely become a wasteland. No cultivators could stay and cultivate on this planet anymore. What? Old Man Gu was actually forced to such a state by that junior that he actually self-destructed. That junior is actually so powerful. The tall Life Immortal used all of his magic power to create a magic barrier to protect the entire Cloud Cliff Mountain. With his cultivation base, it was difficult for him to self-destruct under the explosion of a Life Immortal of the same level as him. However, he had no choice but to use some of his magic power to protect the Cloud Cliff Mountain. It was because Wei Qi was still imprisoned in the mountain. Before Ouyangwan died, Wei Qi must not die yet. As such, the tall Life Immortal was inevitably injured by the aftermath of the explosion. Even though it was just a light injury, it was still terrifying. After all, he had lived for hundreds of thousands of years. It was his first time seeing a Life Immortal expert being forced into a corner by a first-step cultivator, and having no choice but to self-destruct. Fortunately, it was the Fat Life Immortal who attacked Ning Fan just now and not him. If he was the one who attacked Ning Fan, he would probably end up like the Fat Life Immortal, being forced to perish together with Ning Fan. Little Qianqiu, what a powerful junior. However, this junior must have died after being hit by the destructive force of Old Man Gu's self-destruction. After all, he was at the center of the explosion of a Life Immortal. Even if he hides in the small Kiliacosm, he might not be able to avoid the damage. That old man Gu was able to drag a peerless genius down with him before he dies. The tall life immortal shook his head and sighed. After experiencing the baptism of the fat life immortal's self-destruction, the entire Tiantai planet had become a real wasteland. Other than the Cloud Cliff Mountain, there was no other mountain left on the entire cultivation planet. Perhaps it was time to change the place where Wei Qi was imprisoned. Before Old Man Gu died, he still needed to report to that person. Wei Qi was also injured by the aftermath of the explosion. He was chained tightly to the stone wall, and his body was covered with countless layers of seals, preventing him from using his magic power. However, he was not completely unaware of the situation in the outside world. He had sensed that Ning Fan had come to Tiantai planet. He could guess that the reason Ning Fan came here was most likely to save him. As for the person who could invite Ning Fan, it was probably his mistress. Sigh. That little friend Qian Qiu came to save me, but he lost his life for me. I owe him a favor, but I will never be able to repay him. I wonder where my mistress is now. I hope she didn't follow you to Tiantai planet. The most dangerous people on Tiantai planet are not the people of the pill sect, but the scum of my medicine sect. When he thought of how he was captured, Wei Qi's heart was filled with rage. He really wanted to curse that traitor, but he could not make any sound because of the seals on his body. When he recalled the tragic battle where Ning Fan perished together with the life immortal, Wei Qi was filled with sorrow. Just as he was feeling sad, he suddenly saw the tall life immortal walking towards him. He took out a key and unlocked the shackles on his body. Wei Qi, you have eaten the immortal sealing pill of my pill sect. Don't even think about using any of your magic power. You have been struck by my pill sect's dark word technique. Don't even think about speaking. Now, I am going to unlock your shackles and bring you to another cultivation planet to continue to imprison you. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't try to play any tricks and don't try to escape. Otherwise, I don't mind killing you halfway. Wei Qi snorted coldly and glared at the tall life immortal. His eyes were filled with anger, but he did not resist. Now that he was on the chopping block, he would not make things difficult for the tall life immortal at this moment, even though he was furious. The heavy shackles were unlocked one by one. Just as the tall life immortal was about to lock Wei Qi into his heavenly abode and bring him away, a sharp sword light suddenly came from behind. He saw a young man in black robes who was covered in blood holding a black golden longsword with a pair of cold eyes. His body turned into a sword light and dashed towards the stone chamber. Little friend Qian Qiu is actually still alive. Good, good. This is great. Wei Qi was both surprised and delighted. How is this possible? This man is just at the 7th fragmentation realm. It's impossible for him to survive from Old Man Gu's self-detonation storm. How did he survive? While the tall life immortal was still in shock, the black golden longsword had already pierced through his face. Half an inch more, and it would have pierced through his skull. He already knew that Ning Fan's sword was an indestructible weapon of the Great Tao from the previous battle. Thus, he naturally did not dare to face this sword head-on with his physical body. However, with his cultivation base, it was impossible for him to be pierced by Ning Fan's sword, which did not have any special abilities even if he was slightly distracted. With a sway of his body, the tall life immortal turned into a ray of green traveling light, and flew 10,000 zhang away from the stone chamber on Cloud Cliff Mountain. His face was still filled with disbelief. He could not figure out how Ning Fan survived the self-detonation of a life immortal. Of course, he did not know that Ning Fan had already entered the profound Yin world the moment the fat life immortal decided to self-detonate. Even though he was lucky enough to avoid the extremely terrifying self-detonation of a life immortal, he was still injured by the sword ancestor's sword chi. As expected, a life immortal was not someone he could defeat. He had used up all of his trump cards and only managed to kill the fat life immortal by luck. The difficulty he had to go through was not worth mentioning to others. In addition to his previous injuries, Ning Fan was currently extremely weak. It was difficult for him to even stand. However, he still left the profound Yin world unexpectedly and showed himself just to save Wei Qi. If the taller life immortal took Wei Qi away and locked him up in another place, more life immortals might be summoned to guard him. At that time, It would be impossible to rescue Wuxia. He had promised Ouyang that he would save Seventh Wei, so he would definitely do it. Stroking Yuan Yaoyu, a ray of light flashed, and Ouyang walked out of the light. Seeing Ning Fan's heavily injured appearance and seeing Wuxia falling to the ground while being protected by Ning Fan, his heart felt like it was being sliced by a knife. The perception of the five-colored medicine soul was very powerful. Even though she was in the Yuan Yao world, she could clearly see the entire battle in the outside world. When she saw Ning Fan forcing the Fat Life Immortal Realm Cultivator to retreat with his 7th Break Realm Cultivation base, she almost wanted to applaud for him. When she saw the Fat Life Immortal explode, Ouyang almost fainted. She thought that Ning Fan would die under the self-detonation of a Life Immortal Realm expert. If Ning Fan dies because of her, she would never be able to forgive herself for the rest of her life. At that moment, she regretted asking for Ning Fan's help in getting him involved in this matter. Fortunately, she sensed that Ning Fan had escaped into a medium Kiliacosm treasure and avoided the self-detonation of a Life Immortal Realm expert. That made her feel slightly relieved. At the same time, she was surprised that Ning Fan actually had a medium Kiliacosm treasure. Now that she was released from the Yuan Yao world by Ning Fan, Ouyang looked at Ning Fan's back that was covered in blood. Her heart was filled with guilt and gratitude. She did not ask why Ning Fan had a medium Kiliacosm treasure. She was not prepared to ask or tell anyone about Ning Fan's secret. She wanted to keep this secret for Ning Fan. Is there any way to help Senior Wuxia recover his combat power? Ning Fan's voice was very soft and weak. Yes. Seventh uncle was hit by the pill sex dark word technique and immortal bestowment pill. I can neutralize both of them instantly. In just the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, seventh uncle can recover 30% of his combat power. That's enough to deal with another Life Immortal Realm expert. While answering Ning Fan's question, Ouyang took out 2 pills and fed them to Wuxia. Wuxia, on the other hand, stared at Ning Fan's back deeply and said with clenched teeth, 10 breaths. Little friend, buy me 10 breaths of time. Even if I have to harm myself, I will still forcefully recover 10% of my magic power within 10 breaths and eliminate that vile spawn of the pill sect. There was still a Life Immortal Realm expert in this place. It was impossible for Wuxia to have the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn to recover his strength. 10 breaths, is it? Ning Fan did not say much. With a flash, he appeared outside the stone chamber and stared coldly at the tall Life Immortal Realm expert who was approaching him. The tall Life Immortal Realm expert had already seen Ning Fan release Ouyang and treat Wuxia's injuries. He would not give Wuxia the chance to recover his magic power. After all, Wuxia was at the mid-human profound realm which was higher than him. Moreover, he had a Dao weapon and his combat power was extremely high. Even if he could only recover 10% of his magic power, it would still be enough to kill him. He had to kill Wuxia before he could recover his magic power. Since Ouyang had already shown herself, Wuxia would be useless to her. Junior, do you think you can withstand a single blow from me with your current state? Quick. The tall Life Immortal Realm expert looked at Ning Fan disdainfully. He raised his hand and shot out a ray of treasure light, aiming at Ning Fan's neck. It was a silver ring magic treasure with a hook on it. Once it is used, it could easily cut off the head of a first-step cultivator. The tall Life Immortal Realm expert found it hard to believe that Ning Fan could survive the self-destruction of a Life Immortal Realm expert. The number of techniques this 7-breaking realm junior had made him feel ashamed of his inferiority. Even so, the tall Life Immortal Realm expert did not think that Ning Fan could survive the attack of the silver ring immortal treasure. After all, it was difficult for Ning Fan to even stand at the moment. He might not even be able to defeat a cultivator at the 6th or 5th breaking realm. Ning Fan held the black gold Dao sword tightly and sighed softly. Now that he was in a desperate situation, he really had no choice but to use that technique. The consequences of this technique were too great. However, it seemed like he had no other choice now. Ning Fan was hesitating. All of a sudden, he saw the silver ring in front of him split into 3. One of the rings went straight for him, which he could not avoid. The other 2 rings went around him and attacked Wuxia and Ouyang who were behind him. The tall life immortal realm expert decided to be more cautious. Even though he firmly believed that he had the strength to kill Ning Fan instantly, he still wanted to be absolutely safe. If Ning Fan really had a technique that could forcefully hold on for 10 breaths, it would not be fun anymore. It would be better to kill Ouyang Nuan and Wei Qi first, and then slowly torture Ning Fan to death. He must not give Wei Qi the chance to recover his magic power. Ah! The shadow of the ring slashed at Ouyang Nuan. She cried out in pain, and felt that her body was about to be cut into two by the ring. Ning Fan's expression suddenly changed. Without any hesitation, he muttered 2 words and his body turned into a ray of blood light, disappearing on the spot. The person that Ancestor Qian picked up has actually woken up. I have never seen anyone who could survive after suffering such severe injuries. Ancestor Qian's pill healing technique is really amazing. After the little Taoist boy shouted, many little Taoist boys immediately rushed into the Taoist house to watch the show. These little Tao children were all vein opening realm cultivators. None of them were at the harmonious spirit realm. Ning Fan's throat was burning and his head was buzzing. After the commotion, he felt his headache getting worse. Thus, he asked with a slight frown, "Where am I? Who saved me? Where is the person who came with me?" This is the 100 Medicine sect of the Hidden Sea planet. The person who saved you is Ancestor Qian of my sect. No one came with you. You were picked up by Ancestor Qian. A little Tao child answered all of Ning Fan's questions respectfully. His cultivation base was low and he could not tell how high Ning Fan's cultivation base was. However, he had seen Ning Fan being severely injured and on the verge of death. He had never seen such terrifying injuries in his life. A person who could survive after suffering such injuries must be a senior expert. Naturally, he did not dare to neglect him. The Hidden Sea planet. 100 Medicine sect? Ning Fan forced himself to sit up. His eyes were filled with surprise and doubt. Isn't the Hidden Sea planet a cultivation planet in the ancient star region? Ning Fan had heard about the 100 Medicine sect from Ouyang Nuan before. At that time, she even gave him a warm jade hairpin, and told him to come to the 100 Medicine sect to seek help from an old man with the surname Qian when he is in trouble. Is that old man with the surname Qian the Ancestor Qian that the little Tao children mentioned? Wasn't he fighting against a life immortal realm cultivator in the Shaozi star region? Ning Fan remembered that he was forced to use the forbidden technique, weapon disintegration. He could not remember what happened after that. What happened after that? Who sent him to the Hidden Sea planet? What about Wei Qi? What about Ouyang Nuan? As soon as he thought about it, Ning Fan immediately felt a pain as if his sea of consciousness was being torn apart. He could not help but suck in a cold breath. All the things he brought with him were still there. No one had touched them, humph. What a lucky guy. Even after suffering such serious injuries, he could still survive the backlash of the devil's sense. He actually managed to wake up after sleeping for 7 years. A wizened old man wearing a linen Taoist robe and a Taoist hat walked into the Taoist house. Upon seeing the wizened old man, all the children knelt on the ground and kowtowed to him. "Greetings, Grandmaster Qian." Ning Fan, on the other hand, was shocked. He had actually been unconscious for 7 years. "You may dispense with the formalities. You may all withdraw. This old man is going to treat this little friend's injuries." The shriveled old man's face darkened. He waved his hand, and the group of little Taoists immediately left respectfully. "Do you want to know why you appeared in the ancient realm? Senior, please tell me." Ning Fan was temporarily unable to get off the bed, so he could only cup his fists and salute the wizened old man. He could not see through this person's exact cultivation level, but he could roughly tell that this person was a perfected immortal. This person's medicine soul power was extremely strong. He was at least an 8th revolution pill refinement master. It seemed like this person was the Qian Kaiyan that Ouyang Nuan mentioned. "Little girl Nuan brought you here." "Ouyang Nuan? Where is she?" "Dead." "Impossible." Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He did not believe that Ouyang Nuan would die. "You don't believe me? If you don't believe me, take a look at your medicine soul. Is it 5-colored? Humph. The shriveled old man's face darkened. He slammed the door and walked out of the Dao house. Only then did Ningfan look at his own body. He suddenly realized that his medicine soul had turned into 5 different colors. The form of his medicine soul was no longer a black butterfly. Instead, it was a 5-colored butterfly. Ningfan vaguely remembered that the color of Ouyang Nuan's medicine soul seemed to be 5-colored. Why did I obtain the same medicine soul ability as Ouyang Nuan? What exactly happened to Ouyang Nuan? Is she really dead like what that old man with the surname Qian said? Impossible. Ningfan gritted his teeth and forced himself to get off the bed. However, he fell to the ground instead. He did not believe that Ouyang Nuan would die. However, what was going on with this 5-colored medicine soul? What exactly happened after he lost his mind? Howl. Howl. A snow-white little fur ball appeared out of nowhere and threw itself into Ningfan's arms. It stuck out its small tongue and licked Ningfan's finger, attracting his attention. Isn't this ugly little thing the spirit choice that I gave to Ouyang Nuan? I remember that its real name is Ning Xia Bixiu and its nickname is Hairy Ball. Hairy Ball's cultivation base was already at the harmonious spirit realm. With a light leap, it used its demonic power to write a few words on the ground. Nuan Nuan. Trapped. Forbidden area. Crepe Myrtle Pond. Ningfan's eyes suddenly lit up. After thinking for a while, he erased the words on the ground. Ouyang Nuan isn't dead, right? Howl. Howl. The little fur ball nodded. She's trapped in the Crepe Myrtle Pond? Is she in danger? Ningfan asked again. Howl. Howl. The little fur ball shook its head. Is that so? Ningfan shook his head speechlessly. That damn true immortal Qian actually lied to him. Ouyang Nuan isn't dead. She's not in danger for the time being, fortunately, that's right. Old Man Qian seems to have a deep relationship with Ouyang Nuan. How could he let anything happen to her? Ningfan felt relieved. Then his vision turned black and he fainted again. Outside the door, Old Man Qian walked in angrily. He looked at the words on the ground, then looked at Hairy Ball and Ningfan again. His face darkened again. Little fellow, who asked you to speak the truth? Go and find your mother. Rumble. The true immortal Qian kicked Hairy Ball. The force of his kick was very mysterious. It did not hurt Hairy Ball at all but sent it flying. It flew around the hidden sea star for more than 10 rounds before landing precisely in a purple pond in the forbidden area of the back mountain of the 100 Medicines sect. The force of this true immortal Qian's kick was really horrifying. As for his turbid eyes, after kicking Furball away, a look of regret gradually appeared in them. That silly girl is really a silly girl. How could she give her origin medicine soul to someone else so casually? Now how am I going to extend your life? How are you going to face others in this life? How are you going to face others? The number 1 beauty of the 100 Medicines sect, Ouyang Nuan. To hell with the number 1 beauty title. From now on, it's just an ironic title. Old Man Qian kicked Ningfan onto the bed and fed him a pill which was filled with spiritual qi. After letting out a long sigh, he turned around and walked out of the Dao house. Then he instructed the little Taoists who were waiting outside. I'm going to leave the 100 Medicines sect for a few years. Take good care of that brat. Don't neglect him. Yes. What? Old Man Qian is leaving. Where is Old Man Qian going? All of a sudden, all the little Taoists panicked. I'm not in a good mood. I'm going to leave this planet for a few years to kill a few evil creatures. I don't have time to stay here and play. No. This is the ancient star field. A place where bandits run rampant. Without Old Man Qian, our 100 Medicines sect will certainly be annihilated by a large wave of bandits. The little Taoists cried. What are you afraid of? Isn't there someone lying in this Dao house? If the 100 Medicines sect is in trouble, ask him to help. Tell him that if he can't protect the 100 Medicines sect and the Purple Myrtle Pond, no one can save Ouyang Nuan. Old Man Qian cursed the little Taoists who were kneeling on the ground in frustration. Then he turned into a ray of light and left the hidden sea star. Very soon, the news that Old Man Qian was going to leave the 100 Medicines sect for a few years spread across the entire sect. It even spread across the entire hidden sea star at an astonishing speed. Most of the 100 Medicines sect's outer sect disciples were at the vein opening realm, while the inner sect disciples were at the harmonious spirit realm. Only those with a gold core cultivation could become the outer sect elders. The inner sect elders were all nascent soul cultivators. The sect master of 100 medicinal sect was a spirit-severing old man. His other identity was a 5th revolution pill master. With such a cultivation base and identity, it was impossible for them to protect the 100 medicine sect in the secluded sea star where bandits ran amok. The cultivation base that Old Man Qian revealed in the 100 medicinal sect was at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. His pill refinement mastery was at the low-grade 7th revolution. Other than Ning Fan, no one in the 100 medicine sect knew about Old Man Qian's true immortal realm cultivation base and 8th revolution pill refinement technique. With Old Man Qian's departure, the entire 100 medicine sect was thrown into chaos. In fact, this was not the first time that old ancestor Qian had left the 100 medicine sect. It was common for him to leave for decades at a time. However, the ancient star field had been in chaos recently. The capital of the hidden sea star had just been attacked by a group of bandits with green scarves on their heads, and the star master had been killed. Green scarf bandits. He was one of the 72 bandit cultivators in the ancient star sector. The leader of the green scarf bandits was a loose immortal old monster. After he killed the star master of the hidden sea star, he had been purging the old void fragmentation forces of the hidden sea star. It was said that the 100 medicine sect was also being purged. The sect master originally thought that with old ancestor Qian's 7th revolution pill refinement mastery, he might have a way to invite a few loose immortal experts to help the 100 medicine sect and the entire hidden sea star overcome the crisis. Now a great disaster was about to befall them, but old ancestor Qian just had to choose this time to leave. If the green scarf bandits were to slaughter their way to the entrance, who would be able to save the 100 medicine sect? Do I really have to seek help from the young man that old ancestor Qian saved? Isn't that young man severely injured? Hasn't he been unconscious for a few years? He can't even protect himself, so how can he protect the 100 medicine sect? What cultivation base does that young man have? Could he be a senior at the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm? So what if he really has the cultivation base of the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm? Our opponents are the green scarf bandits. In front of the great army of the green scarf bandits, killing one cultivator is nothing. Outside the Dao house where Ning Fan was unconscious, the sect master of the 100 medicine sect and a few nascent soul realm elders were sighing and pacing back and forth. The sect master of the 100 medicine sect had already sealed off the news, not allowing anyone to leak the news of old ancestor Qian leaving the planet. On the hidden sea star, many forces were slaughtered and absorbed by the new star lord every day. One after another, cultivation countries were engulfed by the flames of war. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Gradually, the flames of war reached the nearby cultivation countries. Finally, on the 4th month, it reached the ancient medicine country where the 100 medicine sect was located. When the army of bandits with green scarves on their heads invaded the ancient medicine country like locusts, countless cultivators of the ancient medicine country ran to the entrance of the 100 medicine sect and begged old ancestor Qian to help. In the ancient medicine country, old ancestor Qian was the only void fragmentation realm cultivator. With his 5th revolution fragmentation realm cultivation base, he might not be a match for the green scarf bandits. However, all the cultivators of the hidden sea star knew that old ancestor Qian was a low-grade 7th revolution pill refinement master. His pill refinement mastery was something that even the leader of the green scarf bandits would not dare to underestimate. Old ancestor Qian, please save the cultivators of our ancient medicine country. The green scarf bandits are here. Can old ancestor Qian bear to see our ancient medicine country being annihilated by thousands of bandits? Old ancestor, please kill the bandits and save the ancient medicine country from danger. Countless voices of begging faintly entered Ning Fan's ears. After another 4 months of unconsciousness, Ning Fan woke up in a daze. The serious injuries in his body had completely healed. During the past 4 months, even though he was unconscious, he could faintly feel that there was a pill with a huge amount of energy inside his body. Its medicinal power was healing the serious injuries caused by the backlash of the devil sense. I'm afraid that the lowest grade of that pill is at least 9th revolution. Is it the pill that old ancestor Qian gave me? Why is it so noisy outside? Ning Fan pushed the door and walked out of the Dao house. What he saw was the cultivators of the 100 Medicine sect kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. Outside the 100 Medicine sect, there were also countless cultivators of the ancient medicine country kneeling on the ground. In the sky, there were tens of thousands of experts who were wearing green scarves. They were flying across the sky with terrifying killing intent. Tell me the current situation in one sentence. Ning Fan ordered a spirit-severing realm old man beside him. He was the sect master of the 100 Medicine sect. Old ancestor Qian has left the planet. He instructed us to ask Senior to help if the ancient medicine sect is in trouble. If the ancient medicine sect is annihilated, and we lose the purple myrtle pond, Ouyang Nuan will definitely die. Got it. Ning Fan looked at the sky full of bandits with green scarves wrapped around their heads. His eyes flashed with cold light. He spread his spirit sense and found the location of the purple myrtle pond. He could sense Ouyang Nuan's qi there. A group of bandits was boldly attacking the purple myrtle pond. They are courting death. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.